This evening, I have back for another Gematria debate Zachary Hubbard from Gematria Effects News, and then also the challenger, Andrew Wilson from The Crucible. I'm actually excited. They're going to be doing the same similar topic. We're going into whether Gematria is useful or not. I think this will be an exciting one, as well as with Jim Bob prior to this. So we'll go ahead and kick off. Zachary, would you like to start with your opening statements, please?
Yes, thank you, Sarah. And I appreciate you coming on and challenging my position, Andrew. And since Andrew is a Christian, I thought it would be best to teach about this knowledge through a Christian lens. I'm sure Andrew, as well as every other Christian out there listening, is very familiar with Revelation 13, and specifically Revelation 13:18. In the King James Version, it reads, "Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. And of course, in modern English, that is 666. This number is used ritualistically by the authorities, by the ruling class. And in recent history, 2020, a lot of you guys remember the lockdowns and the things you had to do if you wanted to go to school or maintain your job or go to the mall. Kind of like how Revelation 13 alludes to how you must take this mark, 666, if you want to buy or sell. Part of the Revelation 13 story. Revelation 13:18 is Gematria, or in Greek, the same word is isopsophy. So in the New Testament, which is written in Greek traditionally, the word Gematria means isopsophy. And within the English language, when you learn how to decode the alphabet, there's a reason there's an alphabetic order. Again, the biblical languages, Hebrew, Aramaic, ancient Greek, every letter is a number. And what we have learned through study is that it's the same thing with English. And that's why there's an order to the alphabet. But there is a cipher where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. And in that cipher, the word isopsophy equates to 666. Again, Revelation 13:18 is a Greek isopsophy riddle. Another word that happens to equal 666 is one that YouTube really doesn't like you to say out loud, so I'll spell it out. It has to do with pokey doke or jam. VACCINATION. That word has this Gematria value of 666. And just for the record, Jimmy Kimmel, who broadcasts from the Masonic Temple, he once made fun of this cipher and the fact that these words have that numerical connection. But the point is, understanding this, you can see through the ritualism. The first simulation for the pandemic was given on Mercuralia, May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared on March 11th, 2020. And of course, 2 years to the day later, Trump would declare Operation Warp Speed on May 15th. We'll get into how Trump runs on MAGA, the highest degree of the Church of Satan, and how the sister simulation of Cladex, which was given 666 days before the pandemic was declared, how it was Event 201 and why it was titled that, and why it was on 10/18, October 18th, like how in the New Testament, Satan comes to earth in Luke 10:18. I don't want to be too long-winded, but I'm going to stay with 666 tonight and help people who are Christian understand why, again, if you have wisdom, you will know how to calculate the number of the beast and why this can be very relevant to your life, potentially even life-saving.
Oh, you had time to spare. Okay, I was expecting more. Thank you,
You asked
Andrew.
me to keep it short, so I wanted to keep it short.
I apologize. Andrew, to you, please. Oh, you're muted.
That's probably the only L I'll take tonight, is that I was muted in my opening statement. So just very quickly, you could have done that better by sourcing the Iron Maiden version, which is something like, "Bow to you of earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows that time is short. Let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666. It sounded way more ominous when they did it. I'm just pointing that out. So anyway, so back to this. Gematria is complete nonsense, and it's easily falsifiable. And actually, Zachary, you're going to do me a great favor tonight. You're going to falsify it for us. And I get to watch you do it. I do this to what me and Jim Bob refer to as, quote, Gematria tards all the time. Well, you seem like a decent enough fella, and I'm not going to take the evening to insult you, unless, of course, you start the insults first. Anyway, it's pretty simple. The object here is that math is a universal. If it is universal, it should be able to be applied universally. He says that numbers don't lie, but numbers lie all the time. For instance, have you ever taken a measurement of something and been wrong? Oh, you maybe were off by a half inch, you were off by a quarter inch, right? Because it requires an interpreter. So how do we know that you're interpreting these numbers correctly? How do we falsify it? In other words, how do we falsify? Like, what can I compare to make sure that we could actually falsify this in a scientific way? Well, you don't have anything. You have nothing. You have a cipher, right? Gematria, in fact, there's multitudes. I have the Gematrinator here. I don't know. You're probably aware of the Gematrinator.
It was built in my honor, just if you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. The Gematrinator. Okay. The Gematrinator has multiple different Gematrination machinations in which we can use. Interestingly enough, though, you also claim that this can only be done in English. What about Old English?
I did not claim that.
Oh, okay. So it could be done in Chinese, Japanese, dirty knees. Look at these. It can be done in all those. It can be done in all those languages.
I specialize in English. I learned about it from a 1926 publication by Manly P. Hall. But just to understand, it didn't start in English. Again, this was part of Hebrew, Aramaic,
ancient Greek. All right. Hang on. I wasn't actually asking a question, right? It's my opening statement. I'm just pointing this out. So just very quickly, I'm just going to reclaim a little bit of time there. Here's your history of failed predictions, Zachary. Obama's assassination on August 29th, 2014, total failure. Assassination on March 15th, 2015, total failure. You then predicted Obama's assassination October 19th, 2015. Never happened. You predicted the Obama or Trump assassination around 2016 U.S. election. Wrong again. Trump assassination on some unspecified date, right? And then you gave a bunch of numbers to go with all these. I don't know why. It's like a weird Illuminati card game that you have. Super Bowl 49 will be the Colts versus the Lions. Yep, you were wrong about that too. You're wrong about 2021 March Madness, right? You've basically been wrong about most of the more credible predictions that I can find you making. Tonight, I'm going to ask you to make a credible prediction and actually back that credible prediction up by giving us specificity. I don't believe that you're capable of giving specificity because I believe that you follow a very traditional mantra of a con artist, which is that you use vagaries, and it is through vagueness that you trick people. And so the second I can get specificity out of you, it now creates a claim which is falsifiable, which is why I don't believe that you'll be able to give us any type of specific claim, thus falsifying your own position. Now, to give you a distinction, if I make a claim as a political pundit, it is true that I definitely could be wrong. But what my claim is as a political pundit is I'm utilizing experience, intuition, and other various social senses in order to come to conclusions, including inductive reasoning. So if I'm wrong, right? Now, it could hit my credibility, I suppose, if I'm wrong too often in predictions in the political arena. I think that that's fair. It would just show that maybe I have bad instincts or bad intuition or very bad inductive reasoning. You don't really have that luxury, though, because you have what's called a predictive model, in this case, Gematria. You need to actually specifically be correct about the things that you predict in a very specific way, and you need to be right about them more than you're wrong about them for this to actually be useful and not just left up to chance. So what I'd like to do is demonstrate that tonight when we open up the debate, and I'm ready to go when you are.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate both of you being here this evening. And as a kind reminder to the viewers, chatters, we will do about 2 hours worth of debate. Then we will go into closing statements, read and respond to super chats. Then we will open up the panel for the open panel dumpster fire. Gentlemen, the floor is open.
Yeah, so I just, if you don't mind, I can open up the line of inquiry very quickly by just asking you a basic question. Do you agree with me that that mathematics is a universal constant?
It is, yeah.
Yes. Okay. So then you would have to agree that universally, whatever mathematic expression you had, in the case that I would point to would be logic as a mathematical expression. Regardless of the language, propositional logic is going to be the same. There's no choice because What the hell is in the background?
You're so used to that. Stop it. You know that's always there. I'll turn it down another notch for you.
Do. That's the most distracting shit ever. Um, so anyway, in any language, this universal expression should be able to be expressed. I want to know why in Gematria you focus on English. Let's start with that.
Again, I was looking at this within the context of English because naturally that's the language I speak. We are in the United States of America where it's the dominant language. And I was trying to understand what I was seeing for over a decade with regards to numbers being used in ritual and big news stories and sports games, seemingly numbers being inserted into news articles that just didn't need to be there. They didn't really add any meaning to the story. It almost seemed like they were placed there ritualistically, the same number used multiple times in a story.
What kind of numbers?
Honestly, the number that I saw the most in the news that was unexplained to me for the longest time was 47. It seems like they like to put the number 47 in news stories an awful lot. And lo and behold, there is a reason for that.
Okay, so you have a newspaper clipping handy by chance of this number so I can see it in its context?
Well, I mean, if you followed my work, I often bring up the ritualism of 47 in the news. I don't have an example right here in front of me at this moment, but for anyone who's followed my work, it's a very recurring pattern.
Okay.
And just for the record, in Gematria, news happens to equate to 47. I didn't know that for the first 13 years of trying to figure out why that number was so omnipresent in stories.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You were explaining why in English, why you do this in English.
Okay, so again, I saw a correlation with this seemingly happening in our country, and I was trying to figure out what it could be about numbers and ritualism. And through my research, I discovered that numbers are important to Masonry. They like to etch on the temple all is number, the Pythagoras quote. Of course, Pythagoras, a Greek. Some people say he's the first Freemason. The New Testament. The entire Bible is really a book full of numbers. Of course, the fourth book in the Bible is titled Numbers. From learning about Freemasonry, I learned it was based in Kabbalah. Within Kabbalah is where this study of letters and numbers comes from. The physical model for Kabbalah is the tree of life, which is mentioned in Genesis 3:2:2. And the tree of life has 3 pillars and 22 paths. It talks about knowing good and evil. If you look into Kabbalah in the Tree of Life, there is a normal study, which is about relationship with Creator and the world that you exist within. And there's also something known as the evil half of Kabbalah, which is known as the Clipoth. And for the record, in that same cipher where, you know, the VACCINATION word is 666, so is Clipoth. Seemingly not arbitrarily. The word witchcraft also has the 666 value. It makes you think about how spells has to do with magic, as well as the creation of words, spells, spelling. And if you look into the Clipoth, it is about using this Kabbalistic knowledge to have influence over somebody. And seemingly it seems that that is what's being done with this knowledge. But as for English, again, in my studies, I noticed that at the end of the 16th century, that's when English was standardized with the 26-letter alphabet. And that is also when the Gregorian calendar was implemented by the Jesuit priest Christopher Clavius. In fact, today is the anniversary of the Gregorian calendar being implemented. It happened in history on February 24th. And ultimately, that's where my research has led me to, that it's the Jesuits who created this system with the calendar and the language and seemingly used the Bible like a playbook, as we'll get to. And it
like
is
Club of Rome stuff, you mean?
Go ahead.
Club of Rome stuff.
Club of Rome established April 7th, 68, 3 days after the assassination of
I'm
Martin
very,
Luther
very familiar
Jr.
with the Club of Rome theory. So anyway, there's holes in that, and we can get to that too. But just very quickly, do you realize that the number one number which is found in newspapers is 10, not 47? Its most recurring number in newspapers is 10 because of, you know, top 10 listings, top 10 this, top 10 that. I'm not even sure that 47 is in the top 10 of the most recurring numbers inside of newspapers. It seems like you're taking that number specifically because you can tie it in with other things that also in some way loosely correlate to 47. Here's how I can demonstrate this for you. Do you have the Gematrinator? Do you believe that the Gematrinator actually, if we feed it various words, can Gematrinate their meaning for us?
How exactly do you mean that?
Well, like for instance, if you were to take, you're talking about the jabby stabby, and you keep on saying that it's 666 is tied into the jabby stabby, right?
It is.
Yeah, but I think that what's going on is that you're taking a loose correlation of opposite events, and I could take an equal amount of correlated opposite events and come up with a wildly different number than 666. And I don't know how you could falsify that.
Well, you can try and make your point, and then I'll give you my rebuttal if you'd like to do that.
Yeah, so anything which you come up with to reach the number 666 when it comes to the jabby stabby is going to be loosely correlated events which come up with a word by your definition that's going to equal this number. But what you have to do is you have to take a series of events which fit X, X other event to come up with this word to confirm your bias. What I'm saying is that I can equally take that, put it in the Gematria machine, which I have up now and I'll put in front of my audience, and prove to them and demonstrate to them that I can come up with a completely different number than 666. So can you tell me how you came up with 666?
Again, the cipher where VACCINATION equates to 666 is known as Sumerian Gematria or Gematria. It's just where the alphabetic order is counted by 6. A is 6, B is 12, C is 18, D is 20.
Is it the actual word vaccine?
Say that again?
Is it the actual word vaccine that equals 666?
Well, again, I'm spelling out loud. VACCINATION.
Ah, I see. Now, are there other words that equal 666?
Of course there are.
How many?
That's a good question, but
you don't know?
Let me make a point real quick, Andrew.
wait, hang on, back up.
Go ahead, and then I'll make my point.
It's pretty important for you to know how many other words would equal 666. As after all, there could be other words which are non-nefarious whatsoever that would equal 666. Wouldn't you agree?
I would agree.
Yeah. So why is it that we should put value on this one word? Like, for instance, why would it need to say shun? Why couldn't it just say een? Why couldn't it be ine instead of tion? Why not? Why does that not equal 666? It sounds like selection bias, right?
Well, again, we can get into the ciphers and the other variations of the word vaccine and where this all ties together. But to make a point about 666 and also the date that the simulation happened in light of the Christian lens, again, for anyone who wants to look this up, Cladex was the first simulation of 2 simulations about the C-19 pandemic. And again, the first simulation was May 15th, 2018, exactly 666 days before the pandemic was declared on March 11th, 2020. Now, the thing about May 15th is the majority of the world writes that date 15/5 like 155. If you just take the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order, and you spell out the actual name of the virus, CORONA, virus, spell that word out, it equates to 155. In the same simple cipher, Christianity equates to 155. Now, in Sumerian Gematria, where you multiply times 6, they both equate to 930. And Andrew, why would 930 be interesting in light of Christianity?
Well, hang on. Before we get into that.
Oh, hold on. No, let me finish my point if you don't know the answer.
Well, you just asked me a question.
Right. I'd like you to answer the question.
I have no idea. Why would 930 be relevant to Christianity?
In Protestant Bibles, the Christian section begins with Matthew 1:1, which is the 930th chapter of the Bible.
Okay.
The 930th chapter is where the Christian section begins. Mm-hmm. And again, what is the first book of the Bible called?
Genesis.
Well, that's true in the Old Testament. Excuse me. What's the first book of the New Testament called?
What's it called?
Matthew.
Okay.
Matthew, but you hear the word math in it. And how does Matthew begin?
How does it begin?
It begins with the 42 generations to Jesus, correct?
Well, let's take a look and see if that's how Matthew begins.
Well, I thought you would know as a Christian. Matthew does begin with the first 42 generations to Jesus.
Let's pull it up. See, you have to be very specific here, right?
And
I just want to make sure that what you're saying to me is actually true. So just hang tight. We'll pull it up.
Well, he's looking that up. Also, I let him get away with his little cheap shot about things we've gotten wrong. You guys should look into the resume of the things we've gotten right. It's unprecedented and it's undeniable. And we can come back to what he brought up in the beginning because it also wasn't quite accurate what he said. But if you're going to try and discredit my work based on a few things we got wrong in the early days of the research, you should take
now hang on. I just want to make sure
track record over the last 11 years.
The book of So let's go back. The book of Matthew, right, starts with the words, "This is genealogy of Jesus, Messiah, son of David, son of Abraham." Why is that relevant to this?
I'm making the point about why the New Testament begins with the 42 generations to Jesus. Again, the Bible is a book of numbers.
Okay.
And Matthew, you hear it in the name, the word math.
Uh-huh.
So for your audience who's not familiar with
Wait a second. The word math is in the word Matthew, and you think that has relevance?
Well, I'm going to make a point how it clearly does.
Okay, go ahead.
Again, the 4 base ciphers of the English language. I learned this from Manly P. Hall's The Secret Teachings of All Ages, published in 1926.
Yeah, Manly C. Hall, the occultist, right?
P.
Hall, sorry, the occultist.
He wrote a lot about the occult.
He was an occultist, yeah.
Sure.
And a demon summoner.
Pulled over by the occult.
Yeah, no, he was an occultist himself.
That's also true, but I think he was trying to shed light on the fact that the occult is what controls the nation.
Can I ask? Okay. So anyway, like it's not the word math, right? It's M-A-T-T-H.
Right.
Right.
Would you acknowledge that? Would you disagree that the pronunciation has the word math in it?
Sure. So it has math in it. Go ahead.
I'm going to make the point. So the 4 base ciphers of the English language are the alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. The reverse alphabetic order, Z is 1 back to A is 26. And both orders with numerology applied. So there's 4 base ciphers. So if you have a word value, you'll get 4 numerical values. And these systems are related. And it does seem that there's something to all 4 values. For example, Barack Hussein Obama, if you take the value of his name in all 4 ciphers and add the 4 together, the 4 values equate to 666. It's interesting because the day he was called president-elect, the pick 3 in Chicago, their little lottery, the pick 3 that day was 666. And his birthday is the 216th day of the year, where 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. But coming back to the Matthew part, the word math with the alphabetic order is 42. With the reverse alphabetic order, the word math is 66. Protestant Bibles end with the 66th book. The word New Testament, or the words New Testament, with the alphabetic order and numerology, New Testament is 42. With the reverse alphabetic order and numerology, New Testament is 66. The word new also has the 42 connection. We can come back to the 42, but the point I'm making is, and just for the record, Matthew equates to 27, like there's 27 books in the New Testament.
Yeah, but how come we don't? Yeah, so how come you're using for this 66 books instead of 27 books?
Well, there's 66 books in the whole Bible. But
there's 26. There's 27 books in the New Testament.
Correct. Matthew.
So how come we side with 66 over 27?
Well, I'm just looking at the complete Protestant Bible.
Yeah, but why?
Because that's the way the book is.
Yeah, but why are you looking at that is my question. So again, it sounds to me like you're tying unrelated facts together for no particularly good reason. What is the relevancy of the Bible itself the Protestant Bible having 66 books? How is that actually relevant? Why shouldn't we instead say, no, the Protestant Bible has 27 books, and then the Old Testament has X amount of books, and then we decipher it that way rather than using 66?
It is one complete text. I mean, it's hard to get a Bible that's just the New Testament. I have a King James version right here.
Yeah, it's not hard to get a Bible that's just the New Testament. That's not true. One.
Just
two,
for the record about what I'm saying, again, the King James Bible.
Why do we go? Please answer my question. This is my question. I'm going to repeat it for you. Why is it that when you put the cipher together, you don't go with the 27 books of the New Testament instead of going with the 66 books total? Why instead go with the 66? How did you come to the realization you should go with 66 instead of 27?
If you can give me a minute here to answer your question and put it together, I just want you to see how it's all connected. So I'm sure you're aware of the star athlete who's known as King James, correct? LeBron James played for the Cavaliers in history named after King Charles, who was the son of King James.
Well, What?
LeBron, when he won his first NBA Finals.
I've never heard anybody call LeBron James King James, dude. Ever.
That's his nickname, King James. He won the only final for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, June 19th.
Even let it. So I don't watch sports. You could be right about this, that his nickname is King James, right? You could be, and I could just not.
Please just listen.
Hang on. It's really important that we go through this an item at a time, because you do like to do this thing, sir, and you can't say I haven't given you plenty of speaking time. But I actually really do need you to concisely tie these points together for the purpose of the debate, or we can't get anywhere.
I'm going to.
Do it concisely, please. Go ahead.
I'm going to, because what people need to understand about my work is I'm showing how these people use the Bible as a playbook in ritualism, from the news, like a scandemic, to your rigged sports leagues, to a 9/11, for example, where the Tower of Babel story ends in Genesis 11:9.
Just please answer the question. That's all I'm looking for. Just looking for the answer to the question.
King James was born in 1566, okay?
Okay.
LeBron equals 66. LeBron James also equals 66. The first time LeBron won a finals, they just happened to shorten that season to 66 games. Just so happened to be that way. The first time that King James wins the finals. And of course, they do call him King James. I'm sorry you don't know that. His first ever NBA game was against the Kings.
Yeah, but they also call him the Akron Hammer and the L Train. Why don't you go with those?
All of these things do apply. I can come back to that. He was born in Akron along with.
How does the L Train translate over to being tied into King James, though?
Just let me finish this point about 66 and 27.
Mm-hmm.
When he won the finals for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, June 19th, 2016. That was LeBron's it was the Cavaliers' 103rd game of the season, which is the 27th prime number. LeBron scored 27 in the game, and 27 days later, his father died, who was Nate Thurmond, who was born in Akron along with him and Steph Curry. And Stephen, if you look up what the meaning of that name, it means crown, which fits in with the king. Also, if you look what happened before LeBron won that game, the actor Anton Yelchin died at 27. And if you look at the day he was born, the date of numerology for his birth was also 103. Again, the point I'm making, which might seem a little bit complicated, is these people do perform wicked rituals, and they do use these numbers.
Can you please explain to me why you went with the number 66 for the tie-in for this instead of the number 27?
Well, I'm showing you how they use 66 and 27.
I don't care why they use 66 or 27. Can you repeat my question to me so I know you understand it?
You're asking me why would I look at 66, the whole length of the Bible, versus 27, which is the books in the New Testament?
Why? So can you answer that question?
Because both numbers apply to the book, clearly.
There's but why? Yeah, okay.
Section.
Okay, but do you agree that some parts of the Bible, for instance, could just have certain things which are relationary chapter by chapter? Why not calculate all the chapters, for instance, and use that instead of using the total amount of books? Why is it that you use you use the totality, you say 66, or then you say 27? Why not calculate it chapter by chapter instead? Or how about a calculation of every single word that's printed in there? Or how about the calculation of every single word that's printed in there in Old English versus the new English version? Why not utilize those things instead of this? The reason I'm asking the question of why you use this as the foundation is so that I can make a determination as to whether there's good reasoning behind why you actually did that, or if you're just utilizing it so that you can correlate it with other loosely correlated facts, many of them not even correlated, in order for you to affirm your bias. So why did you go with that specifically? Why?
Because they are pertinent numbers to the book. And for anyone who knows about the Bible, the New Testament is based in the Old Testament, including Revelation being entirely based on what's in the Old Testament. And just for the record,
that doesn't answer the question, dude. That doesn't tell me why you're using that. So the foundation for this, you start with this, right? It's interesting that the Bible has 66 books. The Protestant Bible has 66 books. Why is that interesting? Well, it's interesting because of these other loosely correlated facts that I can calculate out to 66. But we haven't answered the question as to why it is that the Bible having 66 books has any fucking relevancy to anything in the first place other than you want it to.
Well, 66 is the 11th triangular number. And in numerology, 11 is the master number. And just for the record, your spiritual figure, Jesus, which is not his traditional name, it's the newer, more invented English name, Jesus has 11 encoded in it. And for the record, Revelation equates to 121, which has a square root of 11. So a major emphasis on 11 in the spiritual figure of the New Testament, the 66th book.
It's not answering my question of why you're using the Bible as a foundation, 66 books to begin with. Why?
Because that's how many books it is. And
yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. It's like me saying this, okay? So if I were to say to you, there are 20 cigarettes in a pack, right? There's 20 cigarettes in a pack. And if I add that 20 cigarettes in a pack to the 12 beers that are in this 12 pack of beers, I get this number. And that's correlated with blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good. But why did I start with using the cigarettes in the pack to begin with? Why? That's my question to you. Foundationally, why are you starting with this at all?
So for people who do not understand where this knowledge comes from, it is pertaining to the Bible. Traditionally, this study relates to the Hebrew alphabet and the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. It's very obvious that as time went on and this knowledge spread, for anyone who looks into the Templars, the story is that they brought back this knowledge from the Holy Lands after the Crusades and brought it to the church. It appears that the English language, along with the calendar, was a newer invention of this system, truly a system put in place, and seemingly for world domination, because this code traces all through history from the end of the.
Why are we starting with the Protestant 66 books of the Protestant Bible? Why are we starting with that as a baseline to build these numbers up to begin with? Why?
Again, I'm answering why the Protestants were given this 66 book
Bible. I don't care why they were given it. That's not my question. My question, I will assume God himself came down and gave it to them. He handed it to them on a silver platter.
With regards to the King James Version,
why for the purpose of the mathematical breakdown in this numerological set, and we're going to consider this a set being X amount of correlated pieces equal X number, and the X number is then the thing that we're after. That's what we're solving for. But we have to have a reason to start with numero uno, the first thing that we start with, right? So if I'm going to calculate 1 + 1, for instance, to equal 2, I have to start with a reason to count 1, right? There has to be some reason for me counting 1. What is the reason we're starting foundationally with the 66 books of the Bible in order to draw these correlations to begin with? Why?
Again, I think I'm explaining it. I think it's you who's not grasping it.
Use really small words.
Huh?
Use really small words.
Okay. Numerology is central to the Bible. It is central to Kabbalah. This seems to be overlooked by many people who read through the Bible and do not question what all of the numbers inserted in there mean. Were you not once a child like I was, Andrew, coming up in the church in Sunday school and reading these verses and asking, why are these numbers in there? Did that ever?
No, I was born an adult-based conservative, ready to have sex with my wife right out of the womb, sir.
Honestly, Andrew, you claim to be Christian. Mm-hmm. Did you not read the Bible as a child and wonder what it was about the numbers?
No, I didn't think too much about the numbers, but they just seemed like they were chapter indicators, right?
Have you read the Bible?
Yeah.
There's a lot of specific numbers in the verses that go without.
Yeah, but those numbers, and most of the time, these numbers pertain to something which is relevant that we're talking about, right? So same thing with genealogy. You can calculate genealogies to X number of years. You can do this in Genesis with the line of Adam, for instance, and you come up with the X amount of years it took to get to Moses, et cetera, et cetera. The problem is that is tying something to something else. So we have reason to do this. We're solving for something, right? We're trying to determine how many years between Adam and this person was it? How many years between Adam and this person was it? Perhaps you could use that to calculate the age of the earth or the age of creation. There could be many various reasons why you'd want to focus on these various genealogies, though in Timothy it does say not to focus on endless genealogies, I believe. But the thing is that aside, it pertains to a reason for us to do the thing. What I'm asking you is a basic foundational question, which is, what is the reason we start with this base other than just because you fucking want to?
Again, it's not because it's what I want to. It's about observing the numbers that exist in this text and trying to understand why. 6 is a recurring number from the beginning of the Bible. For the record, in the Sumerian cipher, Genesis also equates to 666. And I'm sure you're aware that man is made on the 6th day.
I can grant it that any number of numeric calculations that you come up with as just being true. However, this does not answer my foundational question as to why it is we're going to start with the Bible to begin with. Why? Why do we start with that to begin with? This Protestant Bible, 66 books. Please answer my question. Why are we starting with that? Why?
Is the King James Version not the most recognized version of the Bible in the English-speaking world?
Yeah, that doesn't give us a cause for why we would start with that.
Okay, if you look into the King James Version, they say Francis Bacon was one of the key writers for it. He was into this study of letters and numbers. John Dee, the occultist, who was also into the study of letters and numbers, helped with the King James Bible.
First of all, John Dee was an Enochian occultist. Okay. And the thing about Enochian occultists is that they also are all fucking numerologists. And they like to fool the kings that they work for, like John Dee did, by coming up with false Enochian linguistics, completely made up, false, non-testable Enochian linguistics. To this day, they can't be tested because they were all false. And he was able to trick the court that he was working for, John Dee was. So the thing is like, that's not good evidence of anything, especially not Enochian text. That aside, leaving that portion of the occultism aside, John Dee did the same exact thing. He said foundationally, we need to start with this portion of the Bible in order to decode what angelic speech is, what Enochian speech actually is. He never gave a fucking reason why, though. And so the thing is I'm asking you the same question nobody ever asked him. Why are we supposed to start with a baseline of 66 books from the Protestant Bible in order for us to do these calculations based on that as our foundation? Why are we using that as our foundation? Please answer my question.
Well, you constantly interrupt, first of all.
Dude, do you really think that I've interrupted you? Dude, you have been going and going, and I've been gracious in letting you go and go. I've barely spoken this entire debate. For me to cut in certain times so that you don't continue to filibuster, so I can get the answer to my question, is totally appropriate. I've been nothing but respectful. I haven't bulldozed you at all, which I could. I haven't done that at all. I've been graciously allowing you to try to answer this question. But please concisely just answer this. Why, sir? Why are we starting with the 66 books of the Protestant Bible as a baseline to make any other calculation? Why?
Again, I talked to the point of this subject is this knowledge useful? And it absolutely is. Understanding that these people are using the Bible as a playbook and largely the King James Version because of the occultists who are tied to it from the beginning. See, you're trying to downplay it. You're like, I don't care what they said. That's your perspective.
I haven't downplayed anything.
Again, hush.
What did I downplay?
Hush, please. 6 from the beginning.
You're not answering my question, dude.
Andrew, in what verse does God regret making mankind?
What verse?
In what verse does God regret making
No
mankind?
idea. What verse?
In the beginning of the Bible.
Okay. What verse?
Genesis 6:6 is where it begins that God regrets.
Yeah. What
mankind.
verse?
Huh?
What verse?
I just answered what verse.
What is it? Genesis 6:6? Are you sure?
Yeah.
That's what he said, Genesis.
Are you sure that's the verse?
Yeah.
Are you positive?
In Genesis 6:6, God expresses that he regrets making mankind.
Okay. Go ahead.
The point is 6 is recurring throughout the book. I told you 66 is the 11th triangular number. Maybe you didn't understand what that meant. 11 is the master number in numerology. It's a rep digit of 1, like 66 and 666 are a rep digit of 6. Numerology.
Okay. Why are we starting with the Bible for any of this? Why?
Because that's where the knowledge originates from.
So the Bible is the source of all knowledge.
I didn't say that is necessarily true, but
what is the source of all knowledge? What is the source of all knowledge?
I don't know if there's one source of all knowledge.
Then why are we starting with this Bible?
Because the people who rule this nation, rule this world, which is the church, they use it ritualistically in a mocking fashion.
Wait, what? Say that again? I just want to make sure I got that right. What?
They use the knowledge of the book like a football coach uses a playbook. Again, look at 9/11. The majority of the world writes that date 11/9. The story of the Tower of Babel ends in Genesis 11:9. And just for the record, this cipher where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6, Genesis has the 666 connection, as does New York.
This doesn't answer the question still.
Hold on. I want to come back to how you were trying to downplay what I was saying about the pandemic being simulated 666 days before it was declared. So
yeah, I actually have that information in front of me here. You said it was from, let me just make sure I got this right. What was the organization you said again? I just want to make sure I got it right. What was it? What was the organization?
Are you talking about the Claydex simulation?
Yeah, the Claydex simulation. And
there were multiple participants, including all the same ones that were involved in event 2.
You had a problem with your claim there, though. Do you know what it was?
There is no problem with the claim.
Well, here's the problem with the claim. The Claydex simulation, I do have it in front of me. You are correct. Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security hosted a Claydex pandemic tabletop exercise May 15, 2018, Washington, D.C. The purpose of the exercise was to illustrate high-level strategic decisions and policies the United States and the world will need to pursue in order to prevent a pandemic or diminish its consequences. The problem is that there was many other corporations long before Claydex who ran pandemic simulations inside of the United States. You claim that this is the first one. That is key.
I did not say it was the first one.
Not only did you said that was the first simulation run. Hang on. I have the note. I have taken the notes. Okay, calm down. Calm down. You can respond, dude. Just calm down. Calm down.
Hold on, Zach. Let him finish.
Chill out.
Well, he's reading a source, so let him finish reading the source.
Chill out. You said that this was the first simulation that was run.
First.
Okay, then let's go through it again. So Claydex runs this simulation, which has what bearing on what?
Claydex and Event 201 were sister simulations. They were unique in the way they were done. Anyone can still watch the broadcast. There were no other simulations done like this. They have the same, for people who have not watched it, they present it like it's the news, like you're watching CNN. They have the same news anchor. These are sister-related simulations, okay? But I want to come back to the point about what
does that have to do with the calculations, though?
Hold on. The face of the opposition in the time of the pandemic was Robert F. Kennedy Jr., who's recently been sworn in as the Secretary of Health. And I want you to understand how these things are related. If by chance, did you watch any of his confirmation hearings?
Of course, watched him live. Okay.
So would you agree that the major focus was on his history of being an anti-vaxxer?
Some of it, yes, and others.
It was the major focus, including all the news.
No, I would say that the major focus from the progressives in that panel was on whether or not he was taking money from various corporations when he was engaged in lawsuits against those corporations for the purposes of health.
Well,
so
that was what Elizabeth Warren brought up in one part of the testimony where almost everybody
here's the thing, right? All of them had a different variety of questioning him along those same exact basis of essentially calling him a crook. While I will agree with you that there was a lot of pandemic testimony and his anti-jabby stabby, I can see that that's true. I don't think that was the only focus, no.
Okay. I didn't say it was the only. I said it was the main focus, and it absolutely was for anyone who watched.
Okay.
So here's what's interesting. From the day that he gave his speech about why he was running for president, which was April 19th, 2023, Ignatius of Loyola Day, a recurring day of tragedy in this nation's history. RFK Jr. is Jesuit educated, having gone to Georgetown Prep. It's also why he had his lockdown rally in DC on Georgetown's birthday, which went over almost everybody's head. Again, if you're new here, I show how all of this traces back to the Jesuits. But again, from the day that he gave his speech about why he's running, to the day that he was confirmed as the Secretary of Health was 666 days later. And again, the big concern is him being Mr. Anti-vaccine.
Okay, well, let's hang on. Let's take this a claim. Hang on. Let's take it a claim at a time. Let's just make sure that that's correct.
It is correct. Please.
So how many days? Okay, so when do you believe that he started running for this position that he never ran for? Because it's not a position you run for.
He gave his.
You don't run for the Secretary of Health, just so you know.
2023.
Okay, hang on. Stop. When?
April 19th, 2023.
And what did he do on April 19th, 2023?
That was the day he gave his speech about why he was running.
Okay.
Okay. From that day to the day.
Hang on.
Officially.
Hang on. He's not, by the way, I'm sorry. Do you run for that position?
What do you mean? You run for that?
Do you run for that position? Is that a position you run for?
He announced.
Are you elected for that position?
He announced why he was running for president.
Right. But there was discussions. He was approached with this multiple days before he ever made this announcement. Why don't we go with that date? Because then it wouldn't equal 666, would it?
Again, I will bring it all together for you.
Hey, just tell me, hang on. Listen. I don't need you to go on a wild diatribe. I want you to specifically answer the questions I asked you, please. Why, sir, didn't you go with the multitude of weeks before when he was approached by President Trump's team to take this position? Why would we not use that as the starting date rather than the speech when he made the announcement? Can you explain that to me?
I can bring that piece in. Absolutely. But let's go through the full thing here. Okay.
Okay.
So 666 days from his speech for why he's running to the day that he becomes the health secretary.
He didn't run, sir. He didn't run.
The day he announced he was running for president.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're talking about who now?
RFK Jr.
You're talking about RFK Jr. running for president?
He announced he was running on April 19th, 2023.
Oh, you mean for president?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were talking about health secretary.
And for the record, that date had 66 numerology, like number of the beast equals 66, like New Testament equals 66, like math equals 66. Math's also 42, like New Testament, like the beast rules for 42 months, like the word vaccine equals 42, like Jesuit equates to 42. Coming back, though, listen and follow the thought.
Okay.
If you go back and look, RFK Jr. put out a video last year on social media, July 2nd, 2024. RFK Jr. the Snake is what the video's titled that he put out. His testimony or his hearing began the first day of the year of the snake, January 29th. And of course, the snake is associated with Satan, the serpent.
Stop, dude. Stop. Please answer my question. I'm going to ask it again. Why is it that in order to equal 666 days, you're talking about RFK being the health secretary to reach the number 666? Yes or no, please? Yes or no?
Okay.
Bro. From the day he made this speech to the day he became health secretary, that's where you came up with the number 666, right? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, okay. Great. Yes. Great. So we're on the same page. You went off on presidency and other things. So 666 days. Why are we going with the day he makes the speech rather than the day he's approached for the position? Can you please answer that question now? Don't talk about talking it into other. Stop.
I can answer your question.
Finish, bro. Let me finish. I haven't finished asking. I don't want you to try to tie it into a bunch of other shit. I want you to simply state for me why it is that you go with that day instead of when he's approached to it, other than because if you went with the day he was approached, it wouldn't equal 666. What would the reasoning for that possibly be?
Okay, so the day that him and Trump linked up was August 23rd, 2024, and I can get to why it was that day, but where it fits in with this number of the beast thing is that was the day that he ended his campaign, joined forces with Trump, and that's where the talk began of him getting a position within the administration, hopefully having something to do with what his focus has been in recent years.
What day? What day was this?
Huh?
What day was this?
RFK Jr. dropped out of the race and endorsed Trump Friday, August 23rd, 2024.
Okay, and if we go ahead from August 23rd, 2024 to when he was confirmed as the health secretary
on February 13th.
How many days was that?
That was 174 days later. And here's where this gets interesting. If you write out number of the beast, that has a Gematria value of 174. If you apply numerology,
how are we getting to 666?
Huh?
From how do we get to the number of 666 from the speech, the day of the speech, to the day he's confirmed as health secretary, instead of again going with the few days before or the weeks before when he was actually approached with the position? Can you explain that, please?
I'm showing you how the whole thing fits together.
It doesn't matter how it fits together. It only fits together if we grant the original link of how we got to 666 to begin with. Otherwise, it doesn't fit together. So the thing is again, hang on. I'm not going to grant your presupposition that this is true. I, in fact, dispute that it was 666 days because I would prefer to go with the 10 days before when he was approached or the 20 days before when he was approached. Why would I be wrong to do that? Why?
The day that goes down is the day that he announced his candidacy for president was April 19th, 2023, when he gave his speech about why he was running. And one of his key reasons he expressed was because he wanted to change the nation's health.
Yeah, but why would I be wrong in going with a different day that happened before when he was approached for such a position?
Okay, so here, to entertain your idea and show you how all these things fit together.
It doesn't matter. Stop. Listen, I need you to understand why it is that it's irrelevant how these puzzle pieces fit together if the supposition of piece A, right, doesn't fit to begin with. This means that every other supposition you make off of your first supposition doesn't fit already. So we're going to take this line by line to see if any of these fit to begin with. First and foremost, how do we get to 666 days? Please answer that question. Let's start with that again.
And running in for this race for a place in federal office to the day that he was appointed to a place in the federal office was exactly 666 days later.
Yeah, but it was also the start of the American Revolution, Waco siege, Oklahoma City bombing, all sorts of different things, right? Because every day on the calendar actually has some significance. If you want, if you want to look at it that way. But also, again, why should we go with the day that he announced instead of the previous days where he was approached? For instance, let's see if we can find out when was RFK approached for the Secretary of Health position.
Andrew, I know what day he filed his paperwork to run.
Yeah, but what day was he approached? What day was he approached? What day was he approached?
Part of the record. There's the day he filed his paperwork. There's the day
you can safely assume that he was approached for said position before he announced that he was going to take on said position, right? That's a safe assumption.
Is that part of the public record?
Is it even if it wasn't? Wouldn't it be like, I wouldn't go to you and say, hey, man, you want to be the Secretary of Health? And then you would go fucking announce it the same day. That's not how that would work. You would be approached for it. There'd be a vetting process. There'd be a negotiation. There'd be talks. Why don't we go with that first?
Okay. Again, if you want to understand the ritualism of everything they're doing,
then we need to start with concise facts. And we need to start with
the concise facts.
We need to start with hang on. We need to start with why we have these arbitrary.
Dude, please. You don't have any information. All you bring out is
hold on, gentlemen.
Arbitrary starting points. These are arbitrary.
They're not arbitrary starting points.
Then why are we starting with that? What is the actual reason we're starting with it? Yeah, but why is that more significantly relevant than the day he was approached for the position? Why is that more significant?
Andrew, let me make points and you're allowed to rebut them and try to dismiss them. Again, you go, what if
Zach, what he's looking for,
I mean, this is dumb.
Zach, I think what he's looking for is kind of the why. Like, you have a baseline, but the question is why. Like, for instance, if you're doing math, you're given a given, right? Why is that a given? And there's actual reasons why we have givens in math, if you're doing geometry, so on and so forth.
Right.
So
And I think anyone can
I think
understand that if RFK Jr. began his race on this date, that's why we're measuring from that date. I think that's
no. See that. So now we're getting somewhere. When you say RFK started his race for what?
Federal office, to be president of the United States.
Okay. I'm sorry. We keep speaking past each other then. Okay. So I just did ask you for clarification on this. The clarification on this was, I asked you, are you saying that there was a day where he made a speech and that speech was tied into him to becoming the health secretary? And you said yes. And that's how you ended up with the number 666. Is that now not true?
Again, I'm making the point of when his federal race began to when he got his federal position, which was different than what he set out for, but related, and how it was exactly 666 days later. And again, a point I'd like to make is he's part of the administration of number 47, something we called out that would happen 4 years before it did, why Trump would win this election. Beast equates to 47 like Trump, and he does run on the highest degree of the Church of Satan. Now, please let me make the point. Again, you're trying to downplay these things. For you guys to understand how connected all this stuff is, the day that RFK Jr. dropped out and endorsed Trump, that was the 220th day of RFK Jr.'s age. Donald John Trump equals 220, like how Inauguration Day is 220 days after his birthday. And the official title of RFK Jr.'s position is Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, which equals 220. Not to mention there's 220 Republicans in the House, giving them the majority in the House.
Okay.
You learn this code.
Yeah, great. Can we?
You can see through how.
So we're not talking past each other. Can I just get this clarified so that I understand the actual position, right? Because I'm not even sure right now I even actually understand it. Okay. I think maybe we're speaking past each other. Maybe that's an actual problem happening right now. How do we get to the number 666? Is that when RFK is announcing he's running for president to the day that he becomes health secretary? Or is that the day that he gives a speech on becoming a health secretary until the day he becomes health secretary?
I don't know how many times I have to answer the question, Andrew. This is wasting time. There's so much.
I just want to make sure I'm clarified on this.
1,000 times, Andrew. He
Tell me
announced
again.
Running for president on April 19th, officially putting his hat in the federal race.
Okay.
666 days later, he gets a federal position based on this.
Okay. I understand. Got it.
I want to make a more important point because this is about the jab. And again,
go ahead.
It saved a lot of people's lives, which is valuable. RFK Jr. put out a video called RFK Jr. the Snake on July 2nd last year, something anybody can look up on 7/2. And the thing about jabs is the schedule, which has been for more than a decade, is by the time you're age 18, you now get 72 jabs. 72, which isn't an arbitrary number. It's a number that's related to Kabbalah in the Goetia. There's 72 names of God in Kabbalah.
How many jabs for what?
Huh?
How many jabs for what?
If you're a child coming up, there's 72 recommended jabs by the time you're 18 years old.
Okay, go ahead.
So again, this 72 number is related to that. RFK Jr. again on 7/2 puts out the video RFK Jr. the Snake. I'm sure you know how the medical world is associated with their symbol, the caduceus, which I often pronounced wrong, but it has the snake around the staff. Interestingly enough, in Gematria, RFK Jr. equates to 72. Year of the Snake equates to 72. His hearing began on the first day of the Year of the Snake. Jesuit order.
Can we start with this, though? The recommended amount of vaccines until you're 18. Where are you getting the number 72?
That is, if you watch the testimony, it even came up. They brought up how the schedule of 72. That's what the schedule is.
Can you just tell me what the source for that is, so I can look it up real quick?
Anyone can look it up right now.
I have the record. I have the record. Listen, dude, calm down. I'm just going through each claim like I would with any debater I was debating with. When you shotgun tons and tons of claims, it actually is confusing. So I'm trying to break them all down one at a time. So let's start with this. Where do you get the source that the recommended amount of vaccines for a human being till the age they're 18 is 72? Can you just tell me what the source for that is?
The CDC. It's right on their website.
Okay, where on their website? What's the subcategory breakdown? Real quick, just real quick, so I can pull it up. So we're
Just do
following
a
along.
search, Andrew. It's not that hard.
Do you have it in front of you?
Here, just type into Google these words. These are the words
Okay.
for a web search. 72
Okay.
vaccines schedule, and see what pops up. It'll be the CDC with the AI overview right at the top. Should be easy.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, now 72 is not an arbitrary number. There's a reason we got the first.
I actually don't see this from the CDC here. Just so you know, that's not actually what I see. So I want to make sure that we're on the same page, that I can confirm that there's supposed to be 72 vaccines by the time you're 18 years old. And I actually can't find that information. I would like to real quick before we move on.
Well, you can search for it and do a debate rebuttal if you think it's wrong. It's not.
So I pulled it up on my end. So far, I'm seeing not 72. So far, I'm seeing 16 total.
16 is what I keep seeing. Yeah,
breaks, and that includes the vid vaccine. That word.
Yeah, I'm not actually seeing that. So the thing is again, the entirety of this debate, my argument to you is that we have to base everything on these incorrect presuppositions that you hold in order for your numerology to continue down its path to make falsified claims. So we need to start with each fucking claim and verifying that it's true. And I'm willing to grant that everything you tell me is true if you back it up with a source that I can then verify, and then we can move on to the next claim so that we can get these numbers correct. Where can I find the information that all 18-year-olds ought to have 72 vaccines by the time they're 18? Where can I find it?
Again, you can do a web search. If I'm mistaken, you can say that I take the L in this part of the debate, but that information is out there. It was literally brought up in the hearings with RFK Jr. And I just want people to understand that 72 is not an arbitrary number. Again, it is the Jesuits.
Yes, but now it is an arbitrary number because you just brought it up as being a vaccine protocol, which is what you're basing these other numbers on. And you can't actually demonstrate for us that that is true.
Again, I just told you what to search, and it pulls up right on my end of the thing.
Can you share your screen?
Here. All right, here. Can I share my screen? Let me see.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You got a real deer in the headlights look right now.
It's right
The
up here.
recommended vaccination schedule for individuals age 72 years and older may depend on individual. Where I don't see any 72 there.
The right thing.
Oh man, this is not looking good for you, Chief. Where can we find the 72? Anywhere? Did you make it up? Maybe
I did not make it up. No.
Where is it?
This is a number that's been brought up countless times, including in the RFK Jr. hearing.
Where is it?
I'll pull it up in the background. Again, my bad.
No, let's pull it up now before we continue so that we can make sure that all of your suppositions based on this number are actually correct, because we're dealing with the right first supposition, which you base all of your other numbers on. So let's take a second.
Not what everything is based on.
I'm sorry. Do you want to have accurate information or not?
I have been presenting accurate information.
If you're presenting accurate information, then let's start with the fact that 72 is a relevant number to this, because that's the vaccine schedule recommended. You can look this up according to you. According to you, you look this up on the CDC, that 72 vaccines are recommended by the time you're 18 years old. I want the fucking proof. Now give it to me.
While I'm looking it up, again, to explain the significance of 72, it is not an arbitrary number. Our last two presidents are both Jesuit educated. Both President Biden and President Trump happen to equate to 72, as does Jesuit order. There's a reason we got the first Jesuit Pope on the 72nd day of the year, March 13th, 2013. There's a reason, because they're a sun cult, and the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological.
Hang on, let's stop while you're looking this other one up. When did we get the first Jesuit Pope?
All right, here it is. Okay. All right, so it's 72 doses of 17 different vaccines. So that is the discrepancy. 72 doses of 17 different vaccines.
Pull it up. Vaccine recommendation. Okay. By the summer 2022, CDC recommended that children get 72 doses of 17 vaccines. So that's a whole different claim than 72 vaccines, isn't it?
Well, it is 72 shots at the end of the day. So, but it is.
Yeah, but some, dude, like some things, like the flu shot, for instance, right? You're supposed to get that every single year, right? That would account for multitudes of doses, perhaps.
I don't think you're supposed to. That's what they recommend.
I'm not saying that it's an odd claim that you think people should do it. I'm just saying that it makes sense within the confines that you would have multiple doses of a similar vaccine for things like the flu. That is not the same claim as 72 Hang on.
The point and
stop, bro. My turn, bro. Stop. You were factually incorrect, and you're basing it. Hang on. You're basing in numbers on incorrect information. Let's start with Jesuit probe. When was the first? Yes, what you said was not factual. You claimed
slightly incorrect. It is
so not factual. So anyway, real quick.
Shots.
Now, every single subsequent claim you make, I'm going to verify, just like I did this one, to make sure that your suppositions are okay. So, first Jesuit Pope is when?
March 13th, 2013, the 72nd day of the year.
Okay, it's March what?
13th, 2013. And for the record, that date can be written 3, 13, 13 in prime numbers. 3 is the second prime, 13 is the sixth prime. So the date has a relationship with 2, 6,
You're talking about Pope Francis?
Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope.
Okay.
The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equates to 266. 266th Pope. He went
and what's
on the 266th day of the year.
Yeah. What's Pope Francis's ethnicity? Do you know?
He's from Argentina. Yeah, we nailed the World Cup, the one day after his 86th birthday, where his Argentina won it for the first time.
How come we don't go with the fact? How come we don't go with
Andrew, your little snarky thing about things I got wrong back in 2014 was so lame, dude. Do you know how good the record of predictions is? Do some better research, because you're going to get smoked if you want to argue that my prediction track record's not very amazing.
No, I won't. Just like I'm not going to get smoked in this debate. You're of the predictions
getting smoked. You don't even know your own Bible.
You haven't won a single point. No.
Andrew,
You think that sequence memorization of specific biblical passages in order to affirm a consequent that you want means that I don't know the Bible? This is interesting because all I do is allow you to go ahead and tell me what you think this interpretation means, what the verse is, so that we can decipher if you're correct or not. When you're talking about Pope Francis, why do we go with the fact that he's a Jesuit instead of the fact that he's Argentinian? Why not? Why don't
he's the first Jesuit Pope?
But why not the first? Why don't we go with the ex? He said, he's the first Pope who's Argentinian.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
First Jesuit Pope and the first to live at Suite 201 at the Vatican. This is going to come back to the 666 point, and the Jesuits being responsible for this. If you look it up, Pope Francis, first Jesuit Pope, first to live in Suite 201, if you want to look it up.
Okay.
His birth name, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, equates to 201, just like Ignatius of Loyola equates to 201, and that's the founder of the Jesuits. If you write out the Jesuit order, it equates to 201. If you look from Martin Luther penning the 95 Theses to the Jesuits being created August 15th, 1534, it is 201 months and days later. If you look
hang on, I'm sorry, I just want to correct this. I just looked this up. The article actually says that the doses altogether are 60, not 72. So the article that you sourced was actually not factual. Here, I can pull it up for you just so you know.
Well, then what was also in the testimony with RFK Jr., if anybody wants to go back and watch it, is also not factual then, because the 72 was brought up.
Yeah, so just real quick, fact check. Children do not receive up to 72 doses of recommended childhood vaccines between birth and age 18. So you can find this from Lead Stories, fact checkers. The claim appeared on an Instagram post on June 21st, 2022, under the title, "Has the childhood vaccine schedule changed?" And that's what you pulled up was, it's so funny. This is what the post looked like on Instagram, right? Anybody can source this right this second, including you. And it's actually factually incorrect. It only equates to 60 doses, not even 72. So even that presupposition is incorrect.
Again, what I read from is from the website National Vaccine Information Center.
I'm just telling you what they actually equal up to, and you only showed a part of that article. You didn't show all of it.
It said by the summer of 2022, the CDC recommended that children get 72 doses of 17 vaccines between.
Well, that's not what the recommendation is right now.
Huh?
That's not what the recommendation is now.
Again, 72, very specific number. One that
was wrong. That was wrong that you came up with.
Very pertinent to the ritual with RFK Jr. and the focus on this. And what recently happened in history. This isn't worth splitting hairs over, though.
It's worth splitting hairs over because if you have a supposition, which you base all of the suppositions on, that is incorrect, it brings into question. It brings up into question all other suppositions which you make based on the false information. Now, back to our first Jesuit Pope. Go ahead.
Okay, so again, just to make sure we're good here, Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. The name of that apartment, Domus Sanctae Marte, also equates to 201, like the Jesuit order, like Ignatius of Loyola. There's a lot of 201 with the Jesuit history. Again, look into their suppression. They were preserved by Catherine the Great with 201 Jesuit priests. The simulation that was put on the day the military world games began in Wuhan, China, it was called Event 201, and the leader of that situation or that simulation was Klaus Schwab. Klaus Schwab, Jesuit educated from the Bavaria area, where the Illuminati was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt.
Okay, hang on. Let's stop again. We're going to have to check each of these claims, but I let you make a good deal of them. How many priests did Catherine have? How many did you say?
201.
201 what?
Priests.
Jesuit priests?
The order was preserved with.
Under Catherine, right?
Catherine the Great of Russia.
Okay, and you can back this claim up?
Absolutely. It's written about in a Jesuit text. Let me see. I have to go through my notes. I've covered this many a times over the years. It's referenced in my book, Number Games, and in the title of the book that it's written in. And just for the record, while I'm looking it up, you can look into the day that Biden and Putin met to discuss the tension with Russia and Ukraine before the war began.
Catherine the Great of Russia had 97 Jesuit priests in her domain after she acquired White Russia in 1772.
Huh?
Catherine the Great of Russia. Is that who we're talking about?
Her husband died on July 17th.
Yeah, 97 Jesuit priests in her domain after she acquired White Russia in 1772.
What is it?
97.
What's 97?
She had 97 Jesuit priests in her domain after she acquired White Russia in
what
1772.
From is from a text written by a Jesuit about the 201 Jesuit priests.
Yeah, that's great, right? So you're talking about, okay, I think I found your source here. Catherine the Great of Russia saved the society almost single-handedly. She protected 201 Jesuits she had acquired 1772 with the first partition of Poland. Insisted they continue to work their apostolic. Okay, so that's a different claim altogether. So the 201, so hang on. So grant there's 201 Jesuit priests, and then we move over to the claim of 201 tying into the second thing, which is what?
I'm making the point about how they operate by this number ritualistically. Coming back to the pandemic.
No. What you've done is you've said 201 operates in this category. There's 201 things here and 201 things here. You haven't tied in how they're related.
I am bringing it together how they're all related.
I just want to know how those two events are related.
Which two specifically?
So you said there's 201 Jesuit priests under Catherine blah, blah, blah. And then over in Wuhan, China, there's 201 blah. How are those two things related?
No, I'm saying that the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, who runs the World Economic Forum, was the main spearhead sponsor of Event 201. For the record, the co-sponsor was Bill Gates.
Okay. How is Schwab and him being in charge of some Order 201 related to the 201 Jesuit priests from Catherine the Great? How do we make the leap from that to this? In other words, how do we relate these things together so that we know that they're tied in somehow? How?
We're talking about Jesuits and 201 and their history.
Yeah, okay.
Schwab is Jesuit educated.
Yeah, okay, but so what, right? So the thing is just saying Catherine the Great had 201X, right? And then Carl Schwab was in charge of Order 201. Does not give a
Order 201.
Whatever it is, whatever the 201 is, you're attaching to Schwab.
Simulation.
Who gives a shit? Whatever it is that you're attaching it to, I need you to directly link them together so I know why it's relevant that both of these 201s, which happen in completely different times in history, are in any way related or have any great meaning to anybody.
Okay, here, let me rewind to show you how these numbers get linked together.
No. Let's link those two events together.
Jesuits, order preserved with 201 priests in the time of their suppression. For the record, the Illuminati was created by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt in that time, and he called it Order of Illuminati.
I don't care. I just want to know how they're linked, dude. How are they linked?
I'm showing you why they use this number as a signal, and what I'll get to what the number.
Are these two events linked, or are they not linked?
They are linked.
Okay, then just what is the thing that links them? Just the number 201?
It's just like, here, to give you an analogy, which you seem to not be getting. You can go down the street and see graffiti. You have no idea what that graffiti means. I'm showing you why 201 is important to this order and what it means to them. You have to listen.
Okay.
Again, Klaus Schwab is a Jesuit. He called the simulation Event 201. For the record, Andrew, the Holy Bible equates to 201. Jewish mysticism equates to 201. The Jesuits have a history of Catholicism and Judaism coming together because Martin Luther led the Protestant Reformation against those two religious factions. Again, from Martin Luther pinning the 95 Theses to the Jesuits being created was 201 months and days later. What's interesting is, again, 95 Theses, Martin Luther, just for the record, Martin Luther King Jr., who assumed the name Martin Luther after the Protestant Reformation leader, from his assassination to the nation's first major gun control was 201 days later, and he was killed on the 95th day of the leap year, 3 days before the Club of Rome was established. The thing about 95 and 201, again, Event 201 was the pandemic simulation, which began the same day the military world games began in Wuhan, China. The military world games trace back to the year 95 in Italy, the land of the Jesuits and the Vatican.
And what does this have to do with New Jersey?
Hold on, let me finish.
What does this have to do with New Jersey, though?
More recently, Biden signed off on $201 billion for Israel and Ukraine when these lands are related, because there's a lot of Ashkenazis in Israel when they come from Khazaria, where the war is going on.
Bro, this doesn't answer my question about how he signed off
on $95 billion on the 201st day of the war in Israel, which, by the way, began in a massive 201 ritual, just like the war in Ukraine did. As I said, Biden and Putin met exactly 200.
And what does this have to do with New Jersey, whose area code is 201?
201 was the first area code given.
Yeah, but what does it have to do with New Jersey, whose area code is 201?
Peter's is one of the historic Jesuit universities.
What does it have to do with New Jersey?
St. Peter's is a Jesuit school.
Where?
In the 201 area code in New Jersey.
Okay.
And these Jesuit universities have a lot to do with history. For people who don't know, 201 is the original area code in the United States. And think about that. Think about it. It just happens to be 201.
So I just want to make sure. The area code 201 has a Jesuit university. Are there any Jesuit universities where the area code is not 201?
Just hold on. About your question.
Answer my fucking question, dude.
Andrew, did you know the
Answer
majority
my question, dude.
In the 201 area code?
Answer my fucking question, dude.
The majority of the jab makers are in the 201 area code. What are the odds? Event 201 when they stimulated mass vaccinations? What's your question?
Are there any Jesuit universities that aren't in the area code 201?
Hey, Jesuit universities, you should study them. The nation's first recognized president, George Washington, he gets recognized as the first
recognized. Can you repeat my question to me?
After George.
Can you repeat my question to me?
Huh?
Can you repeat my question to me?
Are there any Jesuit universities not in the 201 area code?
Can you answer that question, please?
Obviously, the answer to that question is yes.
Oh, okay, great. Then how come this one, which is in the 201 area code, has relevance, but the ones that are not in the 201 area code don't?
I didn't say they don't have relevance.
All right. So then how come 201? Hang on. That's really weird, because now it sounds like we're in the realm. Now it sounds like we're in the realm of coincidence.
No, we're not.
We're not.
Andrew, let me make a point.
We're not. Hang on. I just want to make sure I got this clear, right? And you can't say I haven't been letting you talk. I've been letting you filibuster the entire debate with your insane prattle. Why is it that the Jesuit universities aren't all in the area code 201?
Because why would that need to be the case, Andrew?
Well, because 201 is so fucking relevant, right? It's the most relevant number to the Jesuits.
It is.
Why aren't all of them in 201?
Andrew, who was that George?
Can you answer my question, bro? Don't ask me a question. Answer my question.
Your question's ridiculous. They're not going to put it.
Is it ridiculous? Yeah, right. Exactly. So why should I assume that there's any relevancy to the fact that there's a Jesuit university in the area code 201? Why would that have any relevance to anything when you say that there's no external relevance to the fact that the other ones that aren't in the area code 201, that has no particular relevance. So again, what you've done here is this. What you've done is you've tied a whole bunch of information to a number, in this case, the number 201, with a bunch of events that you can't actually link together as being in any way linked. I've asked you multiple times to do this. And what you do is instead is you give a bunch of other non-related events that have the number 201 associated with them as though they're related, but haven't shown us the relation. So real quick, if you can, I'm going to literally start a timer, and I'm just going to give you a challenge here. Okay. Here's my challenge to you. Can you please tell me how it is that, that the 201 Jesuit priests, I'm going to give you literally 30 seconds to do this, right? That way you don't fucking filibuster for the rest of your life, and we can actually get an answer out of you. I'll start whenever you want. How are the 201 Jesuit priests related to Schwab and whatever the 201 is that you are associating with Schwab? Can you just tell me that? I just want to know how these are relational to each other in any way, shape, or form. 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, through the Jesuit network. We're talking about people connected to Jesuitism. And again, Klaus Schwab was the main sponsor of Event 201, the pandemic simulation, where literally every face of the pandemic was a Jesuit. The co-sponsor was Bill Gates, whose name William Henry Gates equates to 201. Again, remember the first case of cooties in the world outside of China landed in his backyard. If you look into his wife at the time, Melinda Gates, she comes from a family of Jesuit priests, and her birthday is also the same day as the Jesuit orders. 201 is a very...
Okay, hang on. That's 30 seconds. That's 30 seconds. Now, you gave me a bunch of factuals about other related events or other events. You never actually told us, though, how the 201 Jesuit priests are in any fucking way related to Carl Schwab and this other 201. You never actually showed us how they're related to each other. You just loosely and vaguely said, here's other events that I can cite that have the number 201, the arbitrary. Hey, stop, bro. Stop. My turn, bro. Stop. The arbitrary 201 with other events that I also associate with Jesuits, but you haven't actually tied these events together. How are these events actually tied together?
Okay. Here, Andrew, I wrote a book about this, which had a major prediction was right on the money, which has a very high review and probably saved a lot of people's lives. That really gets into this in detail. If you need help understanding it, you seem a little bit slow, so maybe reading it at your pace would help it set in. Andrew, this 201 matters to the Jesuits for this reason. Let's establish why it matters.
Okay.
The original code of letters and numbers, as far as we know for this system, goes back to Hebrew. And 201 has to do with illumination, okay? Illumination, which in the occult is knowledge. Knowledge is power. The phrase order of Illuminati equates to 201. That is what the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt named his order. And by the way, he died in history 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment.
Do you think that Catherine the Great purposely wanted to have 201 Jesuit priests?
I don't even know that was really the number. They could have falsified the record because of how symbolic the number is to them.
So the thing is like, you're not sure.
I'm making the point of why they would use the number.
Yeah.
Again, Pope Francis, if you look, the last French Pope in the history of the church was the 201st. The Jesuits were created in France by Ignatius of Loyola, Mr. 201 himself. I want to make a point about what...
All right, so help me out. So help me out here. I just want to understand a couple of things. I just want to make sure that I get some of this right, because I think we can move on from this part to the next part, which is another part that I want to get to in the debate. So thus far, I've established that we start with the Protestant Bible for no particular reason, right? Just because you fucking want to, because it has 66.
About the Catholic Bible.
Yeah. Hang on. Calm down. Okay, and we've established that 201 is relevant to Jesuits because you find a bunch of times where the number 201 is used inside of... By the way, I think that the number 201 you could find with any organization. You could find it with, I don't know, tax returns, all sorts of different things. And you could make relationary, like relationary events. You can give them relations where there are no relations. I think you do this with any organization, with any numeric value that you want. I think I could come up with something which is similar to this. The fact of the matter is that there's tons of other numbers which are utilized by Jesuits as well. How many Jesuit priests for this church? How many Jesuit kids who attend this mass or whatever it is? There's going to be tens of thousands, maybe an innumerable amount of numbers that we could potentially calculate based on a variety of events. You haven't actually shown us anything other than you have plucked 201 from certain events and tried to tie them together, but you haven't shown us, you haven't shown us any actual relationship. You just say the Jesuits really like this fucking number. Doesn't tell us much. And hang on the Bible thing, what I don't understand is when you say I have to arbitrarily start with the 66 books in order to come up with this number, how come you didn't start with the 76 books instead? How come you went with the Protestant Bible instead of going with the 76 Bible or 76 books from the Orthodox Church?
The Orthodox Church is not what's dominating the world. It's the Catholic Church, and I could get into what's in the Catholic Bible. And my contention is,
there's more than 66 books in the Catholic Bible too,
73, sir. And I can get.
Yeah. So why didn't you go with that instead?
Well, I would have brought that up as well. Again, the 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament are very important to them. It's how we nailed the Joe Biden for 2020 prediction. I think we're the only ones on the internet who saw it coming. Catholic equates to 46. Joe Biden elected exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, going with the only other Catholic president, JFK, who was killed at 46. You can look into the death.
That's not my question, bro. What's my question? What's my question?
Let me finish the point.
No, there's no point until you answer the fucking question. Answer my question.
I am answering your question.
And then tell me first what my question was. That way I know you know what it was, and then answer it.
Catholic. I ignored.
No, that's not my question. That wasn't my question. My question was, why did you go with the 66 books of the Protestant Bible rather than the 76 books from the Orthodox Bible, or what you claim the 72 books from the Catholic Bible? Why didn't you go with those two
because
instead?
It's the most familiar thing to Christians is the.
But why would that be the thing that would be necessitate the foundation? Why is that necessary for the foundation? Andrew, because hang on, stop, bro. It makes no sense. Listen. It makes no sense for you to say the reason that this is foundational and we need to start with this as a base is because most people are familiar with it. That literally does not tell me why we need to start with this as a base. Again, why should we start with this as a base for numerology, for your numerology? If there's other Bibles which are available, why are we arbitrarily starting with that one? Why?
Because there's many relevant examples that can be drawn from it, and we can understand that the occult is associated with the King James Bible from the beginning. I'd like to bring it into the current president and where King
that
James
doesn't listen.
Okay,
listen to me so that you understand. We'll try this again, right? The thing is like I've let you prattle for a long time, but you do have to actually start answering some questions as the debate.
I let you do this, Andrew. You haven't made a single cognitive point tonight.
You're on defense. I'm on offense. I'm not here to defend. I'm here literally on offense.
Point, Andrew.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, but you need to answer my questions, Zachary. So here's the thing, Zachary. Here's my question. Here's my question to you, douchebag. Very simple. Okay. By the way, you started with the throwing out of the insults. You were like, you're super slow, and then you're being kind of a snarky little fuck.
Started with an insult in the opening
you
minute.
did. What did I say in the opening minute that was insulting?
Go back and watch.
What? You don't know. You don't even remember. That's how insulted you were. So anyway, the thing is like you haven't actually answered this question. It seems to me that you're starting from arbitrary starting points. What I'm looking for is what informs that starting point, why we should start at that starting point. You constantly want to start at the end or in the middle of the story. I'm not interested in that. All worldviews have a foundation. They have a starting point. We're starting from this for reason X, right? So for instance, if I wanted to debate about morality, I'd say I'm starting with the foundation of God because, and here's my justifications and here's my reasonings for that. Your foundation justification for why you're starting with the Protestant Bible for any of your numerology is what?
That it is the most common Bible and it is associated with the occult, and there's numbers within it that are easy to understand in terms of numerology and what's been encoded in the English language.
Got it.
And you can see how this ritualism plays out in popular culture, which people are familiar with.
So if I said to you,
who have knowledge,
so if I expressed to you a justification,
you were even arguing.
So if I expressed a justification for if I expressed my justification for my worldview by saying because most people agree with X. Do you think that that would be a valid justification? When you say because most people recognize X, do you think that that's a valid justification for your worldview? Like if most people, for instance, recognize that murder was fine, do you think that that's a valid justification for murder? No. So you just saying to me, I start with this because most people recognize it. That's not a valid justification. Why in the world should we ever go with that in a million years? Because you say, because most people recognize it. That doesn't make any sense, dude. That's not a justification for the worldview.
Again, it's not a worldview that I'm presenting. I'm showing how a system has been
It is a worldview.
Coded into things, including
That's a worldview. That's a worldview, literally. Is numerology true?
I'm not someone to claim that numerology is true or not. I'm showing how the ruling class uses numerology.
Okay, well then, is that part of your worldview?
What?
That the ruling class uses numerology.
Well, I think it's evident through observation and
so then it's part of your worldview. So numerology, Gematria, things like this, right? You do believe at least Gematria works, right?
It is useful for seeing through deception.
That's not my question. Does it work? Does it work?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So then it's part of your worldview that works. So the thing is, it's like if it works, that's fundamental to your worldview. It's a pillar for your
Andrew,
worldview.
You're misinterpreting.
What am I misinterpreting?
Worldview. It's about living in a world and making observations about how the people ruling over you are operating. Mm-hmm. It's about know your enemy.
That's a worldview. Yeah, this is your worldview. How you basically interpret the world is your view of the world. It's your worldview. It's your interpretation of the world, right? It's how you interpret things. That's what a worldview is. I'm a Christian, for instance. I look through a prism of Christianity when I interpret the world.
I honestly don't think that you or Jim Bob
people who are atheists look through an interpretation, alternative interpretation for their worldview. It doesn't matter what you think. Like that's even if let's just say for a second you were right and I was a complete phony. It wouldn't have any bearing on whether or not your worldview was correct. So the thing is, it's like here I am. At least I'm charitable enough to not say to you, I don't believe you believe this. I haven't said that. That's what you're directing at me. I don't believe that you believe in Christianity, which is fucking insane. But that aside, I will say this, it is part of your worldview. And so I'm asking for the justification foundation for this worldview, that this actually works. You say we should start with the Bible, the Protestant Bible. And you say we should start with the Protestant Bible because it has 66 books. And based on that's where you're making the calculation. But you haven't made the justification for why we should start there versus other Bibles. You haven't actually justified that.
It is associated with the occult, just like this knowledge is occult. They pay tribute to
almost everything's associated with the occult, dude.
Can I ask, Zachary? I think I see the translation error, maybe. So it sounds like Zach works backwards. So like he's talking about the ruling class and utilizing numbers to understand how this occult works or operates, so on and so forth. And you're finding pieces in these items that can resonate or ways to guide you through like where this kind of conspiracy stuff is operating. Am I somewhere in the zone there?
Right.
I think you work
engineering
backwards.
what they're doing.
No, that's not correct. Listen, I'll explain it again so that you understand.
What you said is correct.
Worldviews have to have a justification for them. Otherwise, they're made out of nothing. They're made out of sand. If I said, for instance, I don't know, that hobgoblins, invisible hobgoblins behind you right now were putting their invisible hand in your fucking head and making your mouth open and close, right? And I said, that's how every human being on earth operates. It's now a worldview that I have, right? And I would need to justify that with something. I would need to give you something, either philosophical evidence or some type of tangible evidence for my starting position that these hobgoblins are actually doing this, that this is actually true, that this is actually happening. The same thing is I'm requiring the same thing from you when it comes to justification for why we should start with the 66 books of the Bible. You just making an appeal and saying because most people can recognize this doesn't mean it. That's not a justification. That doesn't justify anything.
Can you give me 2 minutes to explain something and then you try and debunk or rebut what
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so let's talk about the current president and also Kobe Bryant's death. And both of these things are going to come to the King James parallel, okay?
Okay.
In 2016, when Trump was running for office, LeBron James won the only finals for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, June 19th. And by the way, the opponent lost with 89 points, like King James equals 89, like religion equals 89, like there's 89 chapters in the gospel, like number equals 89, when everything is numbered in the Bible, and numbers are very important to the Bible. Right after he won the finals, Trump had his convention in the Cleveland Cavaliers basketball stadium. And by the way, that's how we were predicting years in advance that Trump would come back as a split-term president like Cleveland at age 78, because Cleveland equals 78. That's another topic. But that year, Trump's rituals, remember when he had his convention in Cleveland, he came out to Queen, "We Are the Champions." And he did that 88 days after the Queen's birthday, which was also the day Prince died that year. Prince had the song "I Would Die For You" with the number 4 and the letter U. U is the 21st letter. He died on 4/21, the Queen's birthday, which was, again, keep in mind he had the song "Black Donald Trump." He also died 201 days before the election. But to make sense of this, Queen is royalty, okay? 88 days after the Queen's birthday.
It's also a band.
Huh?
It's also a band.
Exactly. He came out to Queen, "We Are the Champions." 88 days after the Queen's birthday, when Elizabeth...
And Queen is royalty. The Queen's also a card, but it's also a card.
A lot of King James Version Bibles are purple, just for the record.
Yeah, but it's also a card. What about the card? Tie the card in, the Queen card.
Hold on. Just let me make
the point. There's Queen on a chessboard.
International Chess Days. They are playing chess.
So the Queen on the chessboard is representing the Jesuits playing chess. The Queen cards, because they have such a great poker face. And they came out to their song Queen, right? And it said, "We are the champions." And on top of that, it signifies royalty. Tell me more.
Okay. So again, 88 days from the Queen's birthday to Trump coming out to Queen, "We Are the Champions." Just for the record, Elizabeth equals 88, Trump 88, purple 88. You might recall that Bill and Hillary conceded in purple. You might recall that Jill left the White House this year in purple. Prince was Mr. Purple Rain. But Trump goes on to win the 58th presidential election. In Gematria, Freemasonry equals 58.
But a jack is also a prince in a card game.
Freemasonry, Rosicrucians, secret society, they all equate to 58.
Oh.
King James, the real King James, died at age 58. Biblical equates to 58. Okay, he had a Bible named after him. Holy Bible equates to 45. Trump went on to become number 45 in the 58th election. The King James Bible was published in 1611. King James was born in 1566, meaning it came out the year he turned 45. We were pointing this stuff out way in advance, why it looked like the whole thing was rigged for Trump. The royal family is Masonic. The first degree of Freemasonry is the apprentice. So I get it. Trump announced from the 58-story Trump Tower for the 58th election that he supposedly won, when I'm showing how all these things are completely rigged and predetermined. It's also why Oprah asked Trump in 88 if he'd want to be president someday. She was in the color purple. Oprah equals 58 the big way, where Oprah Winfrey's 58 the small way. Purple Rain equals 58. You referenced Iron Maiden. Just for the record, Jeff Young of Megadeth, former guitarist, he's a friend of this community. You can watch his radio show episode, which is still archived, from February of 2016.
He believes this shit too?
Huh?
He believes this shit too?
He thinks it's undeniable, like most people in my community do, from what we've documented for over a decade. Yes, and you can listen to his broadcast where we warned Prince that he was going to be next in the obituaries, February of 2016. After that broadcast was right after Vanity, Prince's girlfriend, died the day of the 58th Grammys. By the way, Trump supposedly got 312 electoral college votes in this election, which was 58% of the electoral.
Okay, your 2 minutes are up now, dude. I gave you 2 minutes.
2 seconds.
You're just giving me unrelated facts.
5th, the day of the election this year, is the day that
it's just unrelated facts.
King James in history. Trump suffered this assassination hoax.
Okay,
called.
I'm going to grant. So you had your 2 minutes. I'm going to grant that everything that you just said is factually true. Now make a prediction for me and give me specificity with the prediction right here live in front of thousands upon thousands of viewers.
Okay,
I'll give you. Hang on, stop, bro. Calm down.
I'm answering your question.
Okay, I haven't asked it yet. I'm not done. So I just gave you your whole 2 minutes. Right now you have 5,000 live viewers on my side, just on my side alone. And then whatever's on Sarah the Tomato side, and then whatever I have on Rumble. So you probably have like 5,500 people plus watching you live right this second. Can you make a specific, not vague, not bullshit, and not rambly, where you go, based on the duh with the duh, I think the duh made duh. I just want a specific prediction, date, this will happen here, and these are the people it's going to happen to. Go ahead.
So to answer the question, I've made a name for myself doing this research, and it's the reason I've been deleted and censored, making accurate forecasts. We nailed the last election, calling it 4 years in advance from understanding this knowledge. I was pretty much the only one on the internet explaining why Joe Biden would become number 46.
Yeah. Are you going to make, you're not going to make a specific prediction?
I'm going to get to it. Yeah. Again,
okay.
I'm just making the point that we have a long history of accurate forecasts and very specific predictions. Again, you cherry pick some things that I was wrong about in the opening year of my research.
Can you make the fucking prediction now, please?
Yeah, I can. You don't speak like a Christian.
You just take forever, dude. I don't have endless patience. Just please, just make the fucking prediction.
Andrew, anyone who has to debate with you has to be patient. I mean, you debate with a libertarian and you try to make the whole thing about brothers having sex with sisters. You're a weird man.
Did that upset you? That I'm using logic? Does logic upset you?
You're not real strong in logic, Andrew.
Well, I've been logically fucking destroying you all.
You haven't destroyed.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, the guy who came up with the vaccines, or that 72 wasn't 72 doses, was 72 doses. Didn't basically fact check anything. Gave me unrelated facts. Haven't given me a single justification for why I use the Bibles. Now back to the specific prediction. I'm not going to let you weasel out of it. Give me one.
Again.
Waiting for that specific prediction.
I'm showing you how we make predictions.
Yeah, I know. Can you give me one though?
I'm showing you how we make predictions.
That's great. Can you give me one though?
Yeah, I want to get to the important points.
Yeah, no, but can you just give me the prediction, please?
No, I want people to understand the importance of what I'm.
I don't give a fuck, dude. Just give me the prediction. Just give me the prediction, dude.
You don't need to necessarily even be able to make predictions for it to be useful.
Never going to make a specific prediction. Why don't you just admit you're never going to make one? Just be like, I'm never going to make this specific prediction. I'm going to prattle a bunch, but I'm never going to actually make a specific prediction. That's my prediction. Not using numerology, just intuitive logic, that you are never going to fucking make a specific prediction on this program today. It's never going to happen because you're a fraud. But you, sir, can prove me wrong right now by doing it. But you're not fucking gonna. You're not gonna. Go ahead.
But again, I want to lay down something.
But I'm going to smugly lean back and drink this beer while you don't do that.
Again, Donald Trump, the current president, you guys, look into the death of his ex-wife exactly 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuitic nation year, on the same day that he said he'd be running in the upcoming election, which was the 60th. By the way, Donald Trump equals 60. He buried his wife on the 201st day of the year. You can look into their wedding, which was in a massive 201 ritual, and their first child was born on the 201st day of his age. It's very similar to what happened to Beau Biden, who died 201 days before Pope Francis's birthday, and the man who did that ceremony, Leo Jeremiah Donovan.
No fucking prediction. Waiting for that prediction.
I'm getting to it, but I want to catch up on things that were not shared.
You're never going to make a prediction.
You're looking at pretty much the only guy in the world who explained why Biden.
I feel like we've done because a lot of these things we talked about with Jim Bob already, remember? So the audience, and I believe Andrew and Jim Bob share a very similar audience. So a lot of these people have heard these statements you've made before. So we can just, for the sake of the audience, presume they already know all of these things you're going to say and then skip forward and
make the specific prediction that you're never going to make.
I'm going to get to it, but no, I want to go over a few things that were important. Okay, so I want to come back to the time of the pandemic. And he was trying to downplay the significance of 201 in Jesuit universities. If you look into the Jesuit universities, you'll see that a lot of them do have a strong 201 connection. Case in point, Gonzaga out here in Washington State where I live. It's named after Aloysius de Gonzaga, whose name equates to 201. You might recall that March Madness was canceled in the time of the pandemic. In the first tournament, a year after the pandemic was declared, the championship game ended up being Gonzaga versus Baylor. Now go back and look. You'll see that Elgin Baylor, who was Jesuit educated, died at 86 days before Baylor won with 86 points. He died exactly, or from his last birthday to that championship game. Was
still no prediction, bro. Still no prediction.
Hey, I'm going to get to it, but
you're never going to get to it, bro.
And to understand who's doing this and the ritualism of it.
Just make the fucking prediction, dude.
The Butler coach also won the championship over the Jesuit University 201 days from his birthday. And what was ironic about that championship is those teams were supposed to play in Indiana, where the game was earlier that year, but it got canceled during the C-19. And if you look in history, Aloysius de Gonzaga supposedly died from the flu, which is what C-19 was originally coined as. Now, as for a specific prediction, again, Andrew, I'm going to make it about you. And I hate doing this to be mean, but there is an organic side to this code. And are you familiar with the history of cigarettes? And
No. You don't get to make a prediction forecast 20 years ahead.
No, it's not.
I want a specific prediction for this year. Give me a specific prediction for this year with a date and the people. That's it. Specific prediction this year, date, people.
41 years old right now?
Yeah.
You're 41. So it's not that far into the future. I want you to think about this prediction because I've watched
No. I want a specific prediction for this year with dates, and times.
My prediction about you. And then
make it for this year. That's fine. But make it for this year. Give us all I'm asking for is this. You can make the prediction about me even, but give me the date and give me the people who are involved and give me the specifics of what's going to happen. Go ahead. This year. Give me this year so that we can falsify it this year and prove you're not a fraud and you're totally right.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm far from a fraud. My predictions landed a very high
right now you have the floor. You can prove it in front of thousands of people. Make me look stupid. Do it.
Okay, so what I've been saying for a long time is that Trump will come back in this election, which he has as the nation's second split-term president. For the record, you guys, split term in Gematria equates to 132, like it's been 132 years since Grover Cleveland began his second term. There's 132 rooms in the White House. For the record, United States of America equals 132, like Catholic Church, also like Roman Catholic. This country was named 132 days from the establishment of the Illuminati.
Waiting for that prediction, bro.
Hold on, I'm getting to the prediction. Grover Cleveland, in his first year in office, in his split term, he had policies that led to a significant economic collapse. I've been saying that the same thing is going to happen. There's going to be a significant economic consequence in Trump's first year, just like there was for Grover Cleveland.
That doesn't tell us anything. No. What is it going to be? When is it going to happen? And give me some of the people who are going to be involved. But give me the win. Hang on, bro. Give me the win. But most importantly, tell us what it's going to be. What I've claimed in my opening is that I could determine you were a fraud because any prediction you would make would be so vague as to be interpreted however a person wanted to. What you just said here was, I predict that there's going to be some kind of economic something bad that happens this year. So fucking what? Tell us what it is. What is it going to be? You can't, can you?
Well,
you can't. You can't.
Hold on. I would say what's leading up to the thing is his tariff policy. Again,
what thing? What's the thing going to be?
Well, I think his tariff policy is going to lead to this collapse, and you can see what's going on right now. Again,
what collapse? Okay, so the economy is going to collapse.
Hold on.
Is the economy going to collapse?
I think there will be a significant decline in the economy in this first year. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, how much?
Again, Andrew, it takes research, but understand.
Haven't you done all the research?
Valuable knowledge.
Haven't you done the research at the bullshitinstitute.com? What? So when you say it's not going to be a collapse, there's going to be an economic downturn. What does that mean specifically?
Again, Wealth of Nations. Are you familiar with this book?
Uh-huh.
Who wrote it?
A guy.
Who wrote it?
I don't know. Who wrote it?
You're familiar with it?
Yeah, I've heard of the Wealth of Nations. Yeah.
Who wrote it?
I don't know. Who wrote it? Okay.
What year was it published?
I have no idea.
It was published in 1776.
What does that have to do with your prediction?
Okay, if you measure from the anniversary of its publication date to the day that Trump imposed his tariffs, it was exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary.
What does that have to do with your prediction? What does that have to do with? Can you give me the specifics on what's going to happen?
Well, again,
you can't.
In Wealth of Nations, it's
Yeah, no, I don't care. I want to know what specifically is going to happen.
It'll cause consequences within the economy. Tariffs.
Oh, gee, there's going to be consequences in the economy. Well, look at a big brain on Brad. There's going to be consequences in the economy. What are they going to be? What?
The loss of jobs, the tanking of the market.
How many?
Huh?
How many jobs are we going to lose?
You are a numbers guy, shouldn't
How many
well, again, these are things that can be researched, but you can
so you've done the research, right?
place.
How many fucking jobs are we going to lose, bro? This year? How many?
Hey, I wouldn't be surprised at the way that, did you just see the other day that Doge supposedly recovered 4.7 trillion?
How many jobs are we going to lose?
That these policy decisions have upwards of 47. It'll be a number with 47 in the sequence. They'll continue to put this in front of your face.
How many jobs are we going to lose?
7 million jobs. It could be a number.
It's going to be okay. So it's going to be 4.7 million jobs we're going to lose.
The way they report things numerologically, especially the abuse of this number back here, I wouldn't be
surprised.
Sure
I got this right. It's going to be 4.7 million jobs that we're going to lose. By the way, the Jesuits use 76 books. I just want to point that out. But anyway, back to this. I just want to ask how
76, the Catholic Bible.
How many? Well, wait, I don't know. The Protestant Bible is what we're supposed to be using, right? But how many jobs? How many jobs? Don't care. How many jobs? How many jobs? How many jobs? How many are we going to lose?
About 73 though. 73.
Oh my God, dude! Just tell me how many fucking jobs we're going to lose,
huh?
Please. Just tell me how many jobs we're going to lose.
Did I not just do that?
No, you didn't. So tell me specifically how many jobs are we going to lose this year?
I said a fair estimate is I could see a headline of 4.7 million.
So we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs this year. You're on record saying that, right?
Well, again, the way they work in the redundant patterns, I'm not saying that that's 1,000,000% guarantee. I'm saying that they work numerologically.
Well, if you got to put a percentage on it, what would you say the percentage is that this is going to happen?
The larger point to understand is how they repeat history and how they force history.
So if you had to put a percentage on it, what would you give the percentage of this?
Huh?
What percentage would you give this as being an accurate prediction that we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs this year under Trump?
I'd say that, it's probable that you see headlines like that, and it'll say based on his tariff policies. Again, Andrew, you're not even aware of the Wealth of Nations or Adam Smith or what he wrote about how tariffs can be destructive to economies. And the point I'm pointing out is how number 47 it just happens to be imposing tariffs, which equal 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing. For the record, that book's 248 years old. President Donald Trump.
Just a couple of quick, okay, great. A couple of quick, more precise questions that I have on this prediction of 4.7 million. It is 4.7 million jobs now. That's what you're predicting we're going to lose this year?
It could be worse.
Well,
I'm just saying that they would report in light of how they report.
Okay. So 4.7, that is specific, 4.7 million or more. Not less. Not less. Not less. Is that your prediction or not?
I'd say that is a likely way that they would report it. And Andrew, understand what I'm saying is,
can you please give me the prediction
they report? I'm not saying are necessarily even accurate. They report.
I don't care. I just want to know if we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs or more this year.
I think that's a possible headline based on what happened in Grover Cleveland.
Are you?
That's not what I'm asking you. That's not. Listen. Okay, here. If I could write that as a headline right now. USA lost 4.7 million jobs this year. I'm asking you specifically, are we going to lose 4.7 million jobs this year, or fucking aren't we?
Andrew, understand, I'm not saying that I use this knowledge to guarantee the future. I'm pointing out how they operate ritualistically, and there is an agenda Again, their motto is order out of chaos. They purposefully create problems in our society to bring about their planned solutions. So again, they want to transition us to an all digital currency system. You hear the calls for something a lot more socialistic, where people are dependent on a government stipend. Again, if they put more people in a desperate situation, more people in need of big brother, it's also how they grow government and their control over us. Ultimately, this is my real message. How we're being
great. I just want the detail. I want the details specific for the prediction. 4.7 million jobs.
I thought about 4.7
so 4.7 million jobs this year going to be lost, according to you. Not less than that, but possibly more than that. Can you tell us when? When this year is that going to happen? When?
Here, just for the fun of it, in light of the 47 theme, maybe 47 weeks into the administration.
So this year,
just to be able to understand this number behind me, what is 47? Trump equals 47, president equals 47, White House 47, government 47, authority 47, Republican 47, Democrat 47, even running the alphabetic order in reverse, the letters D, C are 47.
So you're saying by next November? By next November, then that should be.
He said this year.
Well,
right.
Are we talking about a year of him coming into office? A year of him coming into office?
November. He's saying November of this year.
Correct.
Yeah, November of this year, we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs, according to our friend here. I just want to make sure that that's correct.
Andrew, just for the record, I know this is what you want to do.
You're not going to. Yeah, you're not going to actually stand by it.
A future that I'd go put out money on that's going to be a headline. But just for the record, you guys, for anyone who would mock this knowledge, Sunday we only went 9-1 in the NBA, 8-2 in the NHL, Lock City on the Indiana upset of Purdue. Again, you can use this knowledge in smart venues for taking advantage of rigged systems. That goes from crypto, which we've demonstrated countless times, the market, sports games, sports futures. He came out with his little hater information from my first year of this research, where I was wrong about several things, experimenting and trying to learn with this. This work has come light years over the last.
If that's the case, I'm willing to retract everything. If you just actually give and actually will stand behind it without vagueness, that this November, we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs. That's a specific prediction. I want you to say, yes, Andrew, that's my prediction.
Again, I'm giving you an idea of what it could look like. That's my idea of what it could look like.
Yeah, great. Oh, you giving us an idea of what it could look like. Oh, well, I could go to a sports. You know what I could do? I could start my own Gematria channel, and I could say, hey, look, I'm giving you an idea of what sports betting could look like. This team could win, or that team could win. I'm just giving you an idea.
About 47. Pay attention.
I don't have time to be more specific about 47. I want a specific fucking prediction about events that are going to happen this year that have specifics. Specifics. No. Specifics. Want specifics? I've given you all the runtime, bro.
I'm going to show you how
all the prattling runtime I'm going to give you. No. I literally backed up. I kicked my feet up. I let you ramble forever. I want fucking specifics now. Can you commit or not? Can you commit? Can you commit or not? That 4.7, shut up. I don't care. 4.7 million jobs are going to be lost by November.
I think that's a possible storyline for the year. Oh, my
God. So you have no specifics. Can you give me any fucking specifics for any prediction right now? Any?
Did you call Trump returning as president as soon as Biden took office for 2024? Did you call that?
Call what?
Trump winning this election 4 years in advance. Did you call that?
No.
I did.
Of course
not. Did you call Biden winning the 2020 election?
Yeah, I did actually call that.
How far in advance did you call it?
Oh, I don't know. It was whatever I was probably in lockstep. Hang on. I was probably in lockstep with the pollsters. But yeah, I did assume that there was a good chance that Trump would lose the election against Biden.
Okay, we called it years in advance,
but I did fail on my prediction. I thought that, and I still do, by the way. I think that if it had been Trump and Biden, there is a possibility Trump would have lost that, but they put up Kamala, and that was nobody wants to vote for a woman. So the thing is like, So the thing is you can make a prediction when you have two people. You almost have a 50-50 chance when you have a split electorate. It's very easy for you to call things correctly or not call things or call things incorrectly.
Nobody knew who the candidate was going to be.
Okay, calm down. In what? For what?
for the 2024 election? People
Oh no, come on. Trump was basically known as what was going to be the front runner leading up.
Thought I was dead wrong, especially after the trials.
No, they weren't dead wrong, and he was always the most viable candidate, and we knew that early on. What are you talking
didn't understand
about?
It from the standpoint of how the game.
Yeah, we didn't understand it, and the media was covering it, and the media all the time. In fact, the media pushed that Trump was likely going to be the Republican candidate. Like, that's a fact.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's a fact. I mean, I covered it nonstop throughout the entirety of the election, including election night. Yes, that was who we thought was going to be the candidate for sure.
Okay. And
Gentlemen,
Andrew, 2015, first time Trump takes the stage with the field of 20 candidates. Did you put out a video that night why it looked like The Apprentice was going to be the winner?
I wasn't even online in 2015, dude.
Huh?
I wasn't even online.
Okay, from this knowledge,
what are you talking about? Who cares? Can you give me the fucking specific before we wrap this up? Since I only have a limited amount of time, right? I don't want to hear about how it works. We know already how it works, right? We've heard all about everything we could ever possibly want to know about how it works and how it's a Jesuit cipher and how you're using a Jesuit cipher to make predictors. We've heard all of this. Give me specific predictions for the coming year, this year. Just a couple, just two. Give me two.
Here, I'll give you one in the world of sports. This is what we do.
No, not the world of sports. Not sports betting. Political. Give me political. Because sports, you have a much more equal chance of calling these things than you do in politics, which are much more volatile. So specifics there matter a lot more. Anything other than sports, in fact, I would accept. Anything. Doesn't even have to be politics. Anything specific.
Field of 68 teams, don't you?
Who cares? Can you give me anything specific outside the world of sports?
Well, you wanted to start the debate by dissing March Madness, which we've done very well with.
Who gives a shit? Can you give me specific? I just want specifics for the year. Anything other than sports. Anything. Literally anything. Go ahead.
Okay. Elon Musk will turn 54 this year on June 28th. I don't know why you're ducking your head. Here's something I worry about for people who operate on social media. A lot of us were purged from the internet June 28th, 2017 for the first time ever. I was one of those people along with a lot of other people.
Just give me the fucking prediction before we wrap the show up, please. Give me the prediction. I just told you. I don't want to hear about how it works. Just give me the specific prediction. For the love of all that is good on planet Earth, for the love of everything that is good and is holy and is sanctimonious on this planet, just give me the prediction, please.
I think when Elon Musk turns 54, like how he made his offer for Twitter at $54
When's that going to be?
Per share.
When's that going to be? When does he turn 54?
28th of this year.
Okay.
I think you're going to see a rampant surge in censorship of any and all things critical of the administration on his platform, which has already begun. I was deleted off Twitter for the first time 1 week after his Nazi salute. And again, that is how I got involved with this platform. I came on here that night to talk about that. And I told people how he did that salute on the 207th day of his age when Werner Herzog equates to 207. And then lo and behold, it was days later that it was announced that Werner Herzog's wife died on the exact same day. And for people do not know, Werner Herzog wrote
censorship on Twitter has already been happening. That is not a prediction. I want a significant prediction, please.
Well,
I thought this was good. Again, just saying that Twitter's going to censor you when Twitter's already censoring you.
Andrew, you keep acting like predictions are the end all. Your faith, does it help you predict things?
Yes.
How?
How does my faith help me predict things?
Yes.
Oh, well, because through the Christian lens of prism and logic, I can use inductive reasoning. And I have justification for the inductive reasoning. It assists me in all sorts of ways. Okay.
And for me being raised Lutheran and understanding what's in that book and having questions that I believe I found answers to, it helps me understand the world better, which is what I'm trying to teach you about.
So it's a worldview?
Huh?
So it's a worldview?
I suppose you could say...
that it's a worldview.
If you want to say that it's a worldview.
Yeah, because it's
trying to understand the forces, the powers.
So you use this as a basis for your worldview, just like I said, and you were trying to dispute, but now we got to the heart of it. Great. Now, can you just give me a prediction, an actual prediction right? Saying, hey, censorship on tech platforms going to increase is not a prediction, bro.
Stop. Understanding what I'm talking about is crucial, because through understanding that, when things happen, it allows me to make accurate predictions.
Don't you think that if a person, hang on, don't you think if you make an accurate prediction, that a person's going to be more likely to listen to your methodology that led to the prediction?
Andrew, I need events to happen that I can follow the narrative, the riddle that's being laid down, just like how Jesus spoke in parables, riddles.
But we don't need the riddles, right? We just want the end result.
Yeah, we just want the result. And the thing is, if you give us the result, right, you will have convinced tens of thousands.
Well,
I guarantee hundreds of thousands of people will watch this. I guarantee hundreds of thousands of people watch this and clips of this. And I will do you this service of putting your prediction. I literally will take your prediction. I will clip it. I'll put it on the channel. It'll go out everywhere. You'll have more fucking people see that prediction you've ever seen before.
I don't really care to gain your audience, because the people who follow you,
just be my audience. Do you know how many fucking haters I have, dude? Half the people who watch me are haters.
I know you don't really have any intelligent people following you.
Half the people that I fucking have are haters. So the thing is like, who cares? Just give me the prediction.
Whole catalog of
just give me the prediction.
All right. I don't think we're getting the full throttle answer.
Prediction from this guy.
And the war starting in the original day Netanyahu came back. Again, these are impressive things to understand. There's not really anybody else doing this. There will be things that happen this year, if you follow me, where it will make me say, this right here shows me what is to come likely in this time period. Andrew, I gave you a prediction. I wanted to share something with you about March Madness, but you didn't want it. It also had to do with 47. It's a major theme right now. Again, Andrew, you're essentially arguing that knowledge isn't power. And whatever predictions you...
When did I argue this? When did I argue this?
Yeah, that's essentially
my argument. Here's my argument, and I'll frame it. I'll frame it the most charitable way that I possibly can.
I wanted to talk more about...
That's great, but I'll give you my argument real quick. Calm down, bro. Calm down. I'll give you my argument real quick so that it's out there. Then you can go on and prattle about how it all works. My argument to you is twofold. First argument is, of course, if you gave anybody a prediction and then it came true, they're going to be way more likely to listen to your methodology. You just simply refuse to do that.
I have one of the
You simply refuse to do that because if you did, you could be held to account for what would obviously be a false prediction, which you would make, which is why you refuse to make it. That's argument one. The second argument is you have no basis nor justification for your arbitrary starting point for how you build these numbers up for your predictive model that you have so little faith in, you refuse to make any fucking predictions based on it, which is sad. It's actually sad.
No, you're completely correct. And again, you keep interrupting. For example, to answer your question about 73 books in the Catholic Bible, 73 is the 21st prime number.
You'll give predictions.
I don't think we're gonna find a solution here, because every time it's just not getting where anybody wants it to go. Do we want to go ahead and start with? We'll do closing statements. We'll go into super chat reading and responding, and then we can open the panel. And you guys can continue this argument on open panel and have at it and have a great old time. And I will let you go all night long if you want to. But for the purposes of the viewers, can we wrap this chapter up, gentlemen?
Sure.
Okay. I believe, wait, now who started? I think Zachary, I believe you started. Andrew, would you like to start with closing statements?
Yeah, I think that if you're going to say that you have a thing which is useful as a predictive model, there's no real way that this could be. In fact, Zach himself says it, right? I predicted this. I predicted this. I predicted this. I predicted this long before anybody else did. I predicted this event, this event, this event, this event. Well, what he's doing is he's doing post hoc justification. He's just saying, well, wait a second. Due to the fact that I can reconcile how in some way I was right with whatever the event was that I predicted. Therefore, my predictive powers using this model must be true. However, when requested in front of tens of thousands of people, what will be inevitably hundreds of thousands who will view this, if he can make a single prediction that he'll stand behind, he says no. That's not a prediction to my liking. I'm not even asking for one to my liking. I said anything that has specifics you'll stand behind, you got fucking nothing. Except I think that Elon Musk is going to increase censorship on a platform he's already increasing censorship on. Well, that's fucking big brain shit there. Any political pundit with no Gematria experience would know this. I'm asking for a specific event a person ordinarily would not be able to predict. He can't give me one. Why? Because it's a con. It's basic cold reading con artistry. You, the victim, you will listen to a bunch of correlated, unrelated facts, in fact, which are he attempts to correlate together, right? And they'll attempt to make it sound convincing until they get called out on like the fact that, oh, this fact you read was wrong. This fact you read was wrong. This starting point's arbitrary. None of this makes any sense. But then what he does, the icing on the cake, even if I was wrong and he was right about every fact he said, it ultimately wouldn't matter, because if he can't make predictions based on that model, it's fucking worthless. And he can't, and he won't. And I predicted that he wouldn't.
Thank you, Andrew. Zach, to you.
Yeah, what Andrew just said is false. It's like a child playing peekaboo. They think because they can't see that nobody else can see. There's a lot of people who followed me for over 11 years, and they know about the very accurate track record of predictions, which is quite current too. Anyone can go watch our video from the night of the Grammys, which was earlier this month, February 2nd. I explained what Kendrick Lamar winning the 67th Grammys would have to do with this month being heavy with hip-hop related deaths by very specific numbers that have now occurred numerous times throughout the month. Those two numbers were 34 and 38. We said the very next day, on the 34th day of the year, to expect a murder in the world of hip hop. It happened to a female rapper out of Maryland, the state that equals 34, on the anniversary of the Ravens winning the Super Bowl with 34 points on the 34th day of the year with a 34-minute blackout. Just days ago, you had you also had the death of Irv Gotti of Murder, Inc. Again, within these four base ciphers, the word murder equates to 79, 34, 83, 38. All of these numbers are recurring. You can see the movie poster behind me for Murder by Numbers. The E's changed to a 3, the B's changed to an 8. We talked about these numbers specifically. The next day after the Grammys was the 34th day of the year. Again, the murder of somebody from the hip-hop world whose name was 34. We talked about this happening the night before.
What were your specific predictions about me anyway, Zach?
Hold on.
Well, how fucking long is this guy going to ramble? Like, we can't, you got so many super chats, dude. Just try to keep it concise. Come on.
I'm explaining the power of this knowledge to see.
We know it's the knowledge is super powerful. It's non-predictive, but super powerful. I did want to ask you though, what were your predictions? Non-predictive, because you won't make a prediction. I just demonstrated that.
Anyone can watch the videos from the timestamps and see how these things follow.
Yeah, but can you make a prediction now? Can you make a prediction right now? What's going to happen next year? No, you really didn't. No specifics.
For March Madness, you didn't want it.
What's the prediction for March Madness?
I'm coming back to what I'm talking about.
Jesus, Lord have mercy.
Okay, forget it. Never mind, because you'll just give me tons of how it works instead of the prediction. Can you just tell me this? You were going to make predictions about me. What were your predictions going to be about me? And it had something to do with me smoking. Was it going to be lung cancer? Was it going to be lung cancer, Zach? Were you going to hit me with the lung cancer? You were, weren't you?
For the record, do you know when the Surgeon General admitted that
I don't care about that. Just give me the fucking prediction, dude.
What year did the Surgeon General?
No.
It's going to be cancer, right? It's going to be cancer. It's going to be lung cancer, right, Zach? Because I smoke.
Andrew, do you think this is interesting?
Can you just tell me the prediction, Zach?
Andrew, in Gematria, do you find it interesting that lung cancer literally equates with cigarettes and nicotine? Do you find that curious?
Yeah, that is curious, considering that 90% of smokers don't get lung cancer, dummy. That's really fucking interesting, though, Zach. Wow, what a great factoid. It's associated with this thing that actually smoking's not all that associated with. Mostly it's heart attacks and shit. Now, give me your prediction for me having lung cancer, Zach. Oh, wait, are you going to switch it to a heart attack now?
Hold on. I'm just making the point that in Gematria...
I'm going to go use the restroom. When I come back, we're going to start reading super chats, okay? Enjoy your 2 minutes to yourself.
Yeah, well, here's the 2 minutes. He's going to give us a bunch of how it works, but not make any predictions again.
I didn't even get closing remarks without getting interrupted.
Oh, God. So I didn't get opening remarks without getting interrupted. Stop bitching.
You asked me a question and I responded.
And then you interrupted after that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No,
And besides that, let's just point out that I'm still waiting for your predictions about me, not the descriptors of how you came to them, just the predictions.
I want to talk about what's going
I
on
know.
this month because this knowledge is important to see what's going on in these entertainment avenues that a lot of people aspire to be in when they're actually horribly ritualistic and murderous. Again, anyone go back and watch our video from February 2nd, not that many days ago, making a very accurate prediction, which has played out numerous times this month. We talked about how rapper equates with murder in numerous ciphers, how there's this redundant pattern with people in the hip hop industry being killed by these specific numbers. Days later, the guy who founded the Murder Inc. rap label dies. And if you look, he died 83 years after the real Murder Inc. in history ended, which is interesting because murder equals 83 and the recording industry did the song Murder by Numbers in 1983, where killing is as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Again, you just had the announcement of the death of Notorious B.I.G.'s mother and the rapper Tyga's mother on the same day, shortly after the death of Tiger Woods' mother, also in Black History Month. But both of their deaths announced 79 days before Mother's Day, when both mother and murder happened to equal 79 as well.
Okay. All right. These all sound a little too spiderwebby conspiracy theory for me. Like I said before, I think
Can you give me the predictions about me now, Zach? Please.
Again, Andrew, it's not like I just sit here and try to figure out predictions, but there's things that happen. And from understanding the numerical patterns, you can see often what is going to happen.
Great. So what's going to happen with me, Zach?
Huh?
So what's going to happen with me?
Skipping steps A through Y, just move to Z.
That's not what I'm doing. That's what you're doing.
You can't tell us, Zach?
Andrew. You
can't do it, Zach?
Again, I don't want to be mean to you, but there is something very dangerous about that number 44. There's a reason the first president to die in office died on 4/4. There's a reason MLK was assassinated on that date. There's a reason that JFK was the 44th term president. There's a reason that Trump appeared in court.
Can you just predict my death already, Zach, and get to it? For the love of all that is good, cut to the chase and predict my death, because we all know that's where you're going, Zach. Just fucking do it, Zach.
I'm going to finish making a point.
Oh, my God.
Trump appeared in court after they finished filming the latest Joker scene, and he appeared there on what would have been the 44th birthday of Heath Ledger on 4/4, April 4th. From that happening, we predicted that there would be assassination attempts on Trump on the campaign trail, which did happen. Again, you can keep mocking, but we've made some very accurate predictions.
Can you make a very accurate prediction right now for me, Zach? That'd be great. About me, like you were going to do earlier, but still haven't fucking managed after 5 or 6 minutes of fucking rambling to actually make the fucking prediction. Now, here's what I predict. Instead of making a prediction, you're going to start talking about how you come up with predictions. Go ahead, Zach. The floor is yours.
Again, I'm just educating about the usefulness of the knowledge in the multitude of ways it can be used. And the way the government operates ritualistically. The word cancer, for the record, also equates to 100.
Correct. Look, my prediction was correct. You should follow me, because look at how I predicted that, and then it fucking happened.
Flow State coming in with a Big Ten. I'm going to go ahead and move on.
Not can you make a prediction? And again, I can make predictions. I've made better predictions on this platform than you've probably seen anybody else ever make. The fact that you don't know
it's just too bad that you can't do it right now, Zach, when it matters.
All right. We're not getting a prediction. We've established that we're going to get the reasoning for the prediction that we're not receiving. Flow State coming in with a Big 10. Andrew says 10 is most common. Sarah's goal is 10 super chats. I'm sending $10. There is no hidden meaning embedded in the occurrences of these numbers. Just autism.
I'm going to also make a prediction right now that a bunch of people from the Crucible are going to go over and start sending super chats to Sarah. I predict that that's going to happen, and they're all going to call you a dunce, because you can't make a single fucking prediction based on your predictive model that you incessantly explain how it works, but never actually show us it working.
Hey, you know what? If you guys want to see how it works, join us on Patreon. Like I said, 9-1 in the NBA.
Hey, if you guys buy my stuff, then I assure you it'll work. I just can't demonstrate it now when it matters.
Predictions have value, absolutely.
Just can't demonstrate it now.
So question then.
I want to.
Question then.
You know about the phrase casting pearls before swine? You're swine, Andrew.
What have I done? What have I ever done to you except question your system, sir? What have I ever done to you?
So
What have hang on. Actually, what have I ever actually done to you other than just question your system?
Throwing out just insults, just calling names.
So you did too.
What name did I call you?
You started them.
What name did I call you?
You said that I was too low IQ to understand what you were talking about.
That's not a name, is it? That's a statement.
Okay. Do you think that was a statement designed to build me up?
Have enough intelligence to understand.
Was it designed to build me up, Zach? Zach, was the statement designed to build me up, or was the statement designed to impugn my character, Zach? Which one?
Again, Andrew, it's unfortunate.
You can't answer any questions, can you, Zach?
Because there's a lot of points that could have been made tonight that we didn't get to. Because
you refused, because Zach, you refused to give us anything except how your system works, but you refused to actually give us any predictions based on the system.
It's not my system.
Whoever system it is that you live by, say it's true because you can make predictions based on said system. You refuse to make any predictions tonight.
Understanding the system, you can get ahead of what they're doing.
Then why can't you make a single prediction, Zach?
I can.
Then do it.
I gave you one tonight.
What?
Oh, Lord Jesus.
Good God.
All right.
What's on, man? I don't know if he's too drunk or what's wrong with him.
What did you predict? What did you fucking predict? That Elon Musk is going to up censorship on X? Well,
that was the second thing brought up, but I brought up the reason why it matters that he turns 54.
Fascinating, Zach. Wow. What an amazing prediction. There's going to be more censorship on
it. Give you a piece of information to think about in light of something that you do. You spend a lot of time debating OnlyFans girls. Just for the record, again, Apple did price their first consumer computer at $666.
Are you an OnlyFans girl, Zach?
Just for the record, in the Sumerian cipher computer,
Zach, are you an OnlyFans girl, Zach?
Internet.
Why would you take 5%? Why would you take 5% of my debates as though I haven't debated the best people in the fucking world while you have been grifting your fucking audience? And I just proved it tonight because you can't make a single fucking prediction.
People know that they get a high value,
give us a prediction, Zach. Prove me. Zach, you can humiliate me right now, right this second, by making a specific prediction, and then it comes true, and I would have to eat fucking crow, but you can't do it.
I gave you a prediction for tonight. What I think is going to happen to the economy.
Oh, that we're going to lose 4.3 million jobs in November.
That wasn't the number.
What was the number?
Don't worry about it. Let's move on, Sarah.
All right.
No, this is important. Actually, just tell me real quick so I can affirm it. What was the number? What was it?
Go back and watch later.
No, just tell me, please. What was the number?
You can go back and watch later.
No, please tell me the number, Zach. What was the number?
A reminder is what number is Trump?
Didn't you say he's 47?
Okay. And
yes,
everything he's doing
I was actually paying attention to what you said, Zach. So great. Can you tell me the number again?
So it was close to 47.
4.7 million jobs?
I think.
And you're standing behind November, we're going to lose 4.7 million jobs, right?
I think we could see a headline like that later.
No, not could see. You're standing behind that is going to happen?
No, I'm not standing on that. I'm giving you an idea of how these.
Yeah, it could be, maybe. I'm not really sure. Perhaps. So you're not really standing behind it, are you, Zach? You're not really standing behind it, are you?
Would he be willing to put money on it?
Specialize in predicting exactly what the headlines are going to be. There's no value in that.
Oh, well, what's the value?
Taking advantage of rig sports, the market, crypto. I know a lot of people who took my crypto advice have times 5 their money in recent months. We were all over XRP by understanding the Ripple coin.
You 5 times your money this month? Have you 5x your own money this month in crypto?
Well, it happened in the last few months. And personally, I've never invested in crypto, and I've explained why, because I do not want to help bring about the digital.
Of course not. Why would you follow your own predictions?
I've explained that I don't want to invest in the crypto system because I see it as a moral issue. I don't want to help invest in
but you don't have any problem with helping other people invest in the crypto system.
I've given people very accurate predictions in the world of crypto and helped people make good money there.
All right, so let me get this right. So, it's immoral for you.
I do well financially. I have a moral problem.
You think it's immoral to invest in crypto, but show people how to immorally invest in crypto?
I don't judge people.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm against murder, but I don't judge murderers.
Andrew, I like to lift people's ships.
Stupid motherfucker, this guy.
It's not stupid.
One of the dumbest fucking people. So let me get crypto's immoral, but I'm gonna help you do the immoral thing.
I didn't necessarily say I'm helping. I'm showing the significance of the knowledge and how this is being used from crypto to the stock market to sports to news.
You should brush up on your debate skills with some OnlyFans girls, bro, so you can get good at it. Because you're terrible. You're terrible.
All right, Smokely coming in with the Big 10 says thanks from the Crucible crew. Now my buttons aren't working. And for the record, if you are a members only, I have done a community post with the StreamYard link. You can be the first to get backstage before I drop the link
this
publicly.
This is false. I said the book is called Numbers. The fourth book of the Bible is
titled
Numbers.
Jones coming in with the Big 10 says, are we all going to let this guy get away with saying that one of the most important books in the Bible is called the Book of Numbers? The Book of Numbers is actually called In the Wilderness.
It's called
but that you couldn't do the correct calculations. You have to understand the calculation has to fit the presupposition, or the calculation doesn't work. Right?
Cole Marshall with the Big 10. Thank you for hosting Andrew Wilson. More debates with Andrew. Yes, sir. Zachary, do you know what the fallacy of misplaced concreteness is? You're using two abstract ideas to build a narrative of your choice.
No, it's him who is incorrect. He's not understanding the ritualism that's taking place in society because he has not studied the subject of what I'm educating about.
Just
to make a point.
Yeah.
Before Kobe died, by the way, I have two books out there. The first one came out in 2017. One has a major section on rig sports. I talked about how the number 41 defined Kobe's life. And in that book, which is 800 pages, in the 29th book, I explained how all of this goes back to the Catholic Church and the Jesuits. Kobe ended up dying at age 41 on the Pope's 41st day of his age while traveling from Catholic Mass. LeBron went on to win the finals that year, exactly 41 weeks after his birthday on Father-Daughter Day. For the record, Kobe Bryant equals 41.
Yeah, so hang on. You got to keep it like 30 seconds. We'll never get through the super chats, bro. We'll never get through them. You'll never get through them if you don't keep them. They're confined to like 20-second responses. And I have to respond to them too. No, hold on. You have to keep them confined or we'll never get through them. We got to get to this open panel. Tons of people are sending in super chats.
Time, Andrew. I'd already be done.
Talking.
Well, hold on. Zach, Andrew is correct. Normally, when we read super chats, if you do have a response, it's
quick,
prompt and quick.
Use social cues. Use social cues, bro. This isn't the time for your long diatribes. Just respond quick so we can get to the next one.
The Bible came out in 1611. The cartoon of Kobe dying in a helicopter came out on the 16th.
Got it. Moving on. That's how quick they need to be. That quick. Super quick. Super quick.
Rachel Wilson with the Big 5. Why did Zach choose the Protestant canon with 66 books rather than the traditional Orthodox Catholic canon, which has 76 books?
Because the Orthodox Church is not in control of what's going on.
Tyrannical with the Big 10. This Gematria stuff has some real world truths to it, especially the King James 66 thing. My IQ was originally 100, but after listening to this man, it fell to 66. Mason with a Big 20. I'm a supporter of Andrew Wilson, but he, just like a lot of Christians, are completely dishonest about this conversation because there's a chance that this could contend with their worldview. I'm an Orthodox Christian myself.
I don't believe you're an Orthodox Christian, Mason, and believe in Gematria. That's not even possible. You would be, that is incorrect canon. That would be considered under the same guise as witchcraft. And I just demonstrated that it's not a predictive model, or this guy would be making predictions. Like, look, if you had a real model where you can make predictions based on a cipher that you were able to unravel that your enemy was using, you would literally be able to utilize that to make concrete predictions in order to demonstrate to people that you were correct. Him, like most con artists, cannot do that. And I demonstrate that over and over and over. He won't even stand behind his own prediction of 4.7 million in November. He won't even stand behind that. It's called con artistry.
Plumpy with the Big 10. 69 is all you really need to know anyway. Stay frisky. Frank the Truth Tank with the Big 10. Marilyn Manson is a prominent member of the Church of Satan, and he has the song "You Say God, You Say 10." Satan, the word God and Satan equal 10 in Gematria. Martin Roca Jr. with a big 10. Zach is smoking this fool. He's talking about why do you use this number or that number will dumbass. He's using the numbers tied to your book, Religion.
Not my book. I used a different book. That's what was in contention.
Saul Jones with a big 20. Unfortunately, I think this guy believes what he's saying. I usually love watching Andrew destroy people, but I think this guy might have schizophrenia.
I believe that he believes it. That was never in contention, though he did say that I don't believe in Christianity, a thing which I would never say to him about his worldview. I think his worldview is wrong. That doesn't mean I don't believe he believes it. You can see which one of us is far more charitable to the other.
Ed2276 with the 10. There were no chapters in the Bible until the 13th century and no verses in the Bible until the 16th century. Jeff Bros with the big 10. Here you go, Sarah, for your family and for the grift. You mod the circle that I watch. Good job. Q-Tard with the big 10. So you have the code figured out. Who specifically is using it for control by name? Where are the rituals happening specifically? And why aren't you actively trying to stop them right now?
Well, I am by educating people. That'll be the answer.
Again, we have been actively trying to stop them. We were out in front of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation educating about Event 201 on Friday, March 13, 2013. And I spent over 100 days out in street corners in Washington State educating about what was coming with the jabs as foretold by Bill Gates in his 2010 TED Talk. Again, gathering people. We've gotten out in front of Oklahoma City for the anniversary of April 19th to talk about Timothy McVeigh, Mr. 201 on Ignatius Loyola Day, blowing up the federal building, including a lot of children. What that had to do with 9/11 happening 3 months after his execution when 2 towers became 0 before they became 1. We've been all over the nation educating about this on the streets of America. Including Buffalo after the top shooting in a predominantly black neighborhood blamed on a white supremacist on the 74th birthday of Israel, a date that we had circled years in advance for a ritual just like that. Again, we've been all over this nation educating about this knowledge and the Jesuits and why they do this. And again, if you have the ability to listen, you can learn how concrete this information is, or you can downplay it as Andrew's trying to do all night, maintaining his ignorance.
Holmes with a big 10. Martin Cucaracha Jr., did you lick any numbers off the back window or the short bus asking for the number 66? Podcast lover, Zach Hubbard's Gematria is not adding up. Ed says, first, we don't know 72 was brought up in the hearing. Even if it was, we don't know the context. Given your misrepresentation of received vaccine numbers, there's no reason to believe you about the hearing.
There isn't. He started with an arbitrary starting point based on misinformation, and then he built an entire narrative behind it, and I exposed it very quickly. And if you take these guys' claims one at a time, you'll always be able to do this because the correlates don't make any sense. They're loosely defined, and then they're put together as though there's some type of grand theme behind them. You
started off by saying LeBron James isn't King James, and then downplaying what I said to you and tying it.
No, what did I actually say?
I said 2024, where the election was on the anniversary of the Jesuits trying to kill King James.
I said I never heard that, but I'm willing to concede. I said I'm willing to concede because I don't watch sports. Hang on.
Andrew, listen.
No good faith. I said I was willing to concede.
It's so obvious how small your worldview is.
It's small. Listen,
you've only had sex with one person in your life, and as far as you know, all sex is just sex, which shows just how little your worldview is. You have no life experience. You don't even know that LeBron is King James. It's embarrassing.
You think I've had sex with one person my whole life, bro?
You're a very small-minded person.
But not only that, let me just point out, right, that not only is that false, you should have been able to predict that with your fucking Gematria, but you weren't able to. You just made yourself look stupid.
You said it out of your mouth. I watched one of your debates.
I literally told you I don't follow sports. I was willing to concede. Hey, you could be right. I've never heard him called that. But then I pointed out multiple other names he had, which you kind of omitted because it didn't fit your narrative. And then I pointed out when he said the King.
It's his main nickname.
Yeah, but what about the fact that he has other nicknames? And what about the fact that he had other nicknames
Andrew,
before?
What about this? Again, like I said, King James's son was King Charles, and those who fought for him him were cavaliers. Go
That's
back to King
awesome.
Charles' coronation on
Mhm.
May 6th, 5-6, when
Mhm.
coronation equals 56, like royal family, and LeBron became 5 and 6 at home versus Steph Curry in the playoffs with a huge value on that game. Easy to take advantage of, seeing as how it's all rigged together.
But let's go back to 1776. Okay. And when we're talking about 1776, we're talking about, what is commonly referred to as the birth of the nation. That inside of this nation, we have what are called freedoms. What does freedom add up to? 300. And if you're talking about 300, you can take that 300 and then you can subtract it by the time the French invaded. And what happened when the French invaded? They burned the White House. What's the number for the White House? It's 72. And so if you take the 372, it actually adds up to 372. Stupid.
For the record,
How could
the
you
Jesuits
fucking
were
know
present
that?
in the White House burned in a major
How come you
201
didn't
ritual in the time of the
fucking
only
know that?
201 president, James Madison, who was
How
also
come you didn't know
when
that?
the Jesuits came out of suppression.
Yeah, but how come you didn't know it added up to 372? How come you didn't know that?
What added up to 372?
I just walked you through it. I'm not going to do this again with you.
Oh,
How many
okay.
times do I have to walk you through it? How many times do I have to show you the descriptor that I can't make any predictions off of? Huh?
Andrew, we have a long track record of predictions. Sounds like
But then can you give us a long track record of making one tonight by chance?
What that again, something to be useful doesn't have to even offer predictive power. Understanding your reality and who's controlling it's more important than that.
Why? If it is the case that you cannot
why, when, where is very important.
They're going to do. If you cannot predict a fucking thing they're going to do and give us any specificity, that's totally worthless.
We've exposed who is doing these things through the accurate predictions.
Wow, who's doing what things?
For more than a decade.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it's so accurate you can't make any predictions tonight, though.
I gave you one for what I expect to happen tonight.
No, you didn't. You said maybe.
You're drunk.
You said may. I wish I was drunk. That would be way more fun.
All right.
By the way, for the record, alcohol equals 33. Prohibition ended in 33. That's
of course
the way our government operates.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just a fact.
All right.
Alcohol equals fun. Fun equals 22. Because it's 22, your 33 is now debunked.
No, you didn't debunk it. That's just
I just debunked it. That's debunked.
Gordzilla with a big 10. Alphabet in Hebrew, Gematria equals 197. There's 22 letters in Hebrew. In the Hebrew alphabet equals 219. 666 adds up to 18, and 219 minus 18 equals 201. Therefore, Gematria is still just numbers made to fit. Ooh, say that 3 times fast. Grid with a big 20. As an overlord, I must say his math is wrong. We do not exist. Please return to your pods.
The coon pods, yes.
The coon pods. Just say something. This sounds like a torturous form of 7 ways to Kevin Bacon. Shaking my head.
By the way, Jay Dyer's in the chat. If you don't know, okay, Jay Dyer's an Orthodox Christian. Orthodoxy adds up to 311. Okay. And that's exactly the amount of money that he owes me for fucking up my debate with another guy the other day. So I'm just pointing that out.
All right. This sounds like a torturous form of 7 ways to... Oh, sorry. Jeff with the big 10. What I know about God is that I'm not him. Zach is obviously not him, and God exists. Zach likes to think he is. What say you? Send your mods some love. Gestural with the big 50. Make a prediction. Grid with the big 20. I've not seen this level of mental masturbation ever. I can make a prediction. Get in the crystal.
Good prediction.
State of things with the big 20. My prediction is people avoid this numbers guy at dinner parties if he's even invited. Damien, Andrew is what happens when they give you wine at church and for some offerings. Batty men. Let me keep scrolling. State of things says, oh, we're all just too stupid to understand. Well, damn, how did we all miss that?
I don't know. You guys are fucking idiots is the problem. If you had the requisite information that had been prattled on about forever, absent the actual proof, which would be, the predictive prowess of said information, then you would actually understand how to disseminate information properly, but you're too fucking stupid. You're all, and by the way, I just want to point out, everybody will always have the criticism that because you don't understand the ridiculousness of their worldview, you're just too fucking stupid, Crucible audience. You're just too dumb. You don't get it.
Noah with the big 10. I predict that numerology is gay. Robert Demita. Zach really made a dunce out of himself in this debate. Sean Brewer says, Zach, look into the 201 crystals. It will blow your mind. Jim Bob says, hack shouldn't shouldn't Chat GPT be able to more accurately predict gematria events than you? Why isn't that occurring, Zach?
That's actually a really good point.
I haven't explored Chat GPT using the knowledge to make predictions.
I mean, maybe you should.
I'll look into
You can
it.
be the first AI Gematria predictor guy.
Oh,
I could see your credibility rising, Zach.
My credibility is very good with people who followed my work. There's a reason I've been deleted 1,000 times.
Yes. Well, I mean, possibly it could be because you're what we like to refer to as a person who engages in tons of fraud, which in turn pisses people off. And so they come after you.
Again, case in point, before January 6th happened, which was a massive 201 ritual, I told people to look into the Transition Integrity Project simulated by Jesuit Georgetown on June 12, 2020, which essentially simulated January 6th. My entire channel was deleted for talking about that, which I don't know how that's possibly a violation of the terms of service.
Well, everybody's channel got deleted for talking about January 6th.
When there was nothing medical about it.
Everybody's channel was getting deleted for talking about January 6th, not just yours.
It was deleted before it happened. I was talking about Transition Integrity Project before January 6th happened. And I explained why there would be
got deleted for
news related to it because it was part of the simulation.
What did they say got deleted for?
The main person who got killed, Ashley Babbitt with the bizarre spelling, killed under the speaker's chambers. That was a nice little 201 ritual as well, just for the record.
Okay, so what did your channel actually get deleted for?
The whole channel was taken down the day before Janury 6th. I've been deleted 27 times.
What did they say it was for?
They said it was for medical misinformation.
Okay.
Those were the videos that were 2 videos taken down for medical misinformation
so
about
you're
January
talking about
6th.
the jabby
There was nothing
stabbies.
medical about it.
You were talking about the jabby stabbies, right?
I was not. No. False.
Yeah, probably in other videos.
Do you know how many videos I've lost in the time of COVID? Not even talking about medicine, where they just say
I'm asking you. Bro, I'm asking you.
Times.
Look, I don't want your channels. Listen, I don't want your channel deleted. I wish that you could stay on and say whatever the fuck you wanted. I'm fine with that. I have no issues with that at all. I'm just saying that a lot of times what happens is people will use to their credibility. My channel was deleted for X thing, and then when you look into it, you find out there was actually a lot more to it than that.
Well,
not all.
In this case,
listen, hang on. In your defense, I'm making a defense of you. Calm down. I'm making a defense of you, Zach. I'm making a defense of you. Calm the fuck down. What I'm saying to you is, I don't want your channel deleted. I want your channel to be everywhere. I want you. It's fine for me that you can speak. Can you let me finish? Can you let me finish? Calm down, Zach. Calm down, Zach. Chill out, Zach.
Andrew, there's a reason that in 2017 my average video got 100,000 views.
All right.
Zach, you can't stop slurging for 2 seconds, Zach.
Nia with the Big 10. This dude is a dunce. Win Crucible. Christopher Murphy with the Big 10. Get into the crystal, Zach. What a grifting dunce. William with the Big 10 says, get the bunny.
In the guillotine.
Guillotine. Thank you. We need something to get a straight answer out of this guy.
Are you a vegan by chance, Zach?
No.
Oh. Well, then the guillotine wouldn't work. I have this. So, Zach, I'll just tell you, right? Because this is actually funny. And maybe we can humorously divert this into something decent before the panel starts so that you're not all butthurt for the rest of the night. But I had this idea that if I was debating with a vegan and they were as evasive about answering questions as you are, that what I would do is I'd take a rabbit that I captured in the field and I would make a rabbit guillotine that was on a remote. And so every time they didn't answer a question, the guillotine went down just a little bit lower till it hit a red line. And then it would drop the entire way, taking the rabbit's fucking head right off. And I would basically hold them hostage doing that.
Well, again, the problem is the questions you asked all night showed your lack of simple understanding and didn't speak to the topic, which is the knowledge useful, which, again, it doesn't even have to be predictive to be useful.
Zach, you said we could talk about whatever we wanted, Zach, before it started. I recorded it. Do you want me to show it?
Okay, but you said you also wanted to keep the topic for what it was.
I said we can do whatever you want. And you said we can branch into whatever you want to talk about, okay. Andrew. Your exact words.
Trying to create a false premise that it even needs to have predictive power to be useful, which is not true.
Well, wait a second, Zach. The topic of the debate is not just whether or not it's useful. I said it was not true, right? That was what I said, and you said that's fine. False. Yeah, but here's the thing, right? When we came to the justification of how you ascertain that it was true, here's what you had. Blech. But we could have something great, which
No,
could
that's not what I
ascertain
have.
it. We could have some evidence that would ascertain its truthfulness. A prediction.
Lots of those. And again, I told people how they can go back and watch older
Just not
videos
tonight.
of spot-on predictions that still exist on channels that have not been deleted.
Yeah, just not tonight.
Number 1 to you says, if Zach ever finds a woman that puts up with him, I predict she will pass away from boredom.
The reason that I didn't give you an orgasm tonight is because of the number 201. You have to understand that what happens is when the Jesuit order under Catherine the Great freed 201 various Jesuit priests, and then later on, if we look at the King James Version, what do we see? The number 65. That's exactly the number of pills of Viagra I need to take in order to give you an orgasm, and I didn't have them.
Andrew, that's not the kind of points
it's
being
all
made.
the numbers. It's all the numbers.
Andrew, the kind of points being made tonight is that Jesuit-educated men are meeting about the Russia-Ukraine war before it begins 201 days after the first ever Jesuit Ignatian year ever began. And then the war begins in the Donbass region, which equals 201. And then Biden gives $95 billion on the
Does the word
day of
Donbass
the war.
actually equal 201?
95 and 201
Does the
go
word
back to the
Donbass
beginning of the
actually
Jesuits
equal
who were
201?
created
Does
201
the
months after
word
95
Donbass actually does the word Donbass actually equal 201?
Donbass region equates to 201, which
It's
is
not Donbass itself, right?
It's referred to as the Donbass region. It always is.
Yeah. So is it the Donbass region that's 201 or Donbass region? Right. Not
Donbass region.
You just said it's always referred to as the. Why'd you leave the out? Why did you leave the out?
Well, leaving the out is also not unfair. I mean, again, the is a correct statement. I'm just saying what they refer to it always as Donbass
you just contradicted
region
yourself.
You
just contradicted yourself, even though you know logic, right?
Huh?
You just contradicted yourself, even though you know logic.
Myself.
Yeah, you did. You said it's referred to.
It's totally fair. Words and
you just said it's totally fair because it's referred to as the Donbass region, and then you go on to say,
hold on, to make a point,
is what equals that. We left the word the out.
Hold on, to make a point, the in front of a word is not arbitrary. Again, it can be important.
Yes, why didn't you include it?
Hold on, I'm going to answer what you're saying. The Jesuit order is 201. Jesuit order alone is 144. These numbers often get paired together in their ritualism, just like how Trump's ex-wife died 144 days after her birthday and then was buried on the 201st day of the year. When the Jesuits came out of suppression, it was 144 days after James Madison's birthday, the only 201 president. On and on and on. It factored into Beau Biden's death. It factored into the death of Beau Biden's wife and daughter who died on limestone.
Why did you leave the word the out, though? Why did you leave the out of the Donbass region? Why?
I'm making the point that looking at the in front of the word can, if it's the Donbass region, if I'm not mistaken, it's 224, like the Society of Jesus, the formal title of the Jesuits.
A few minutes ago.
Huh?
I thought it was 201 a few minutes ago. Now it's not.
Donbass region is 201.
Not the Donbass region, which is what you said people refer to it as. So you left that out so that it would actually equal 201. That way you could tie it together with your 201 conspiracy.
God, just splitting hairs again, just ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, splitting hairs is pretty necessary when you're talking about the specificity of things like fucking numbers, right?
There's been a lot of 201 rituals with the war from before it began through the present. There's a lot of things we could go over if you really wanted to.
Did you know I own 201 guns?
I doubt it.
Oh, Jesus. He might actually.
You can only carry one at the end of the day.
If I had known.
Can you shoot any of them?
Barely.
Got liquor earlier.
Barely.
I imagine you wouldn't do too well in the Fallout world, Andrew. Drinker and smoker. Not going to last very long.
All right. Beef it to beef it.
Drinks and smokes. Wait. Even though everybody in the Fallout world drinks and smokes, dummy? Who in the Fallout world doesn't drink and fucking smoke?
Survivors.
All of them do. Everybody in the Fallout world drinks and fucking smokes. What game are you playing? Are you playing Fallout New Made It the fuck up, Vegas? Like, what are you playing?
I don't
what are you talking about? What's the reference? You're not going to do very good. You're not.
I focus on
good in a post-apocalyptic world as a smoker and a drinker that has everybody's a smoker and drinker in.
Andrew, real quick, just entertain me here.
Okay.
From the beginning of this nation up to the present, the capital moved to the Jesuit stronghold, Washington, D.C., which in our history books, we get the first recognized president the year that Georgetown's established. And then eventually Inauguration Day moved to January 20th, which is the 201st day of the nation's age. And for the record, on the government website, they refer to it as Inauguration of the President of the United States, which equals 201. Do you think that's arbitrary? Do you think that's coincidental?
Not only do I not think it's arbitrary nor coincidental, I think that what you're doing is you're just drawing small factoids in order to associate the number 201 with them so that you can make what's called a gambler's fallacy. Would you like me to tell you what a gambler's fallacy is?
Well, it helped us land the Biden and Trump predictions because, again, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan, which
it didn't help you
did the
find any
funeral for
fucking
Beau Biden
predictions tonight, huh?
and the inauguration for Joe Biden, and he was the former head of Georgetown.
It's the gambler's fallacy is the mistaken belief that a random event is more likely to occur after a series of opposite events. What you're doing right now is you're doing exactly the same thing as the gambler's fallacy. You're taking unrelated events and you're assigning them an arbitrary number to those events. Yes, they are unrelated. You can't make 201 relational in those events, except because there's going to be an infinite number of numbers that we can associate within those events to other things, and you just skip over them. That's what makes it arbitrary and fallacious. On top of that, and by the way, illogical. On top of that, you're making you have another sequential problem here, which is just this: your starting point itself is arbitrary and made up.
No, it's not arbitrary.
Yes, it is arbitrary. Yes, it is. Then why don't you use the Catholic Bible? Why do you use the Protestant Bible?
The starting point is the end of the 16th century when English was standardized and the Jesuits implemented the calendar on this day in history, which is also the start date of the very 201 war.
And why do we use Ukraine? And why ought we use that as our start date for Gematria? Because you believe that only Jesuits are the ones who are implementing this system?
I don't think the Jesuits are the only ones, but they are the tip of the spear.
Oh, I see. So before that, Gematria did not exist?
No, it absolutely existed before that.
Well, then why aren't we starting with those sequences of events?
My work is focused on who is the one pulling the strings on the world, controlling this nation's government.
It's arbitrary.
Media, who's manipulating the major
you know
events.
What arbitrary means? It means without system. You're not utilizing even the system for the system itself. It makes no fucking sense, dude.
It makes a lot of sense.
It's a completely foundationally made up starting point that fits your view, and that's it.
No, that's your false interpretation.
Not only is it not a false interpretation, I demonstrated it by asking you the foundational questions for why you use these things as a foundation. You just said because people know them. That's not a foundational argument, dude.
No.
Oh, Jesus. Praise baby Jesus.
I explained that the knowledge comes from the Bible, and you can see that it's clearly encoded in the Bible. And also, it's a clear way to explain it since people are familiar with these things. To teach something to somebody, you have to teach where they have understanding. You have to meet people where they're at. But again, the Bible is the English translations of the Bible are directly correlated.
How do you teach Chinese people?
And the calendar.
How do you teach Chinese Taoist?
Huh?
How do you teach a Chinese Taoist?
What does that have to do with what I'm saying right now?
What I'm saying to you is that you say that you're going to start with the 66 books of the Bible because that is where you're going to meet people where they're at. So how would you meet a Chinese Taoist where they're at in order to explain the Jesuit conspiracy based on Taoism? How would you do that? How would you even go about it?
That's not my focus right now.
Yeah, right. So you have no idea. That's how I'm demonstrating it's arbitrary. If I was going to use, on the other hand, my foundational belief to a Chinese Taoist, it would be the same as if I use my foundational belief to an American. Do you understand the distinction there? That's why it's not arbitrary. It's going to be the same universally.
You're talking about your spirituality and why you believe what
I'm just talking about foundations. I'm just talking about foundational principles and how mine are not going to change and yours have to necessarily change because they're arbitrary.
If I went to China and wanted to teach about this, I would show the 201 rituals they're doing with Xi Jinping and the harassment of Taiwan and what that has to do with history. Again, the Jesuits have been in China longer than this nation existed.
How would you tie it to Taoism, where they're at?
I don't need to tie it to Taoism.
No? So what would you tie it to? The same
the history of the Jesuits in China, which predates them this country even existing.
Okay.
The Far East is super important to them. Sun Tzu, Art of War, the reason people know about that text is because the Jesuit priest Father Amia, who published it in 1773. Again, there's a lot of things. By the way, for people who are not familiar with Art of War, look into chapter 11, the 9 situations. Just like the date 11/9, there's 68 paragraphs in that chapter, like how in 68, World Trade Center construction began, 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, George W. Bush got out of Yale and Skull and Bones. A lot of things went down in 68.
You're wrong.
Record,
It was
Art
actually
of War
published.
equals
Hang on.
102,
It was
a
published in.
reflection of 201, and 9/11 was simulated by the federal government 102 days before it happened.
Yeah, the Art of War.
By the
She
way,
dates.
Al-Qaeda also
The Art
equals
of War
102.
dates back to the 8th century. There's been copies of it floating around forever and ever and ever. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about there. Yes, it is true. It was translated into French 1772 by a Jesuit named Jean Joseph, but the copies of it were around long, long before there was a publishing house. Hang on.
Because of that,
Long before there was a publishing house,
there's a lot of
people, stop, dude, stop. It's my turn to respond. Long before there was a publishing house by a Jesuit who ever published this, there was tons of copies of it floating around everywhere. Tons of people were rewriting it. Tons of people were translating it. Why shouldn't we start with the 8th century date? Why?
How many people would be aware of it if it weren't for the Jesuits publishing it?
Oh, God. Tons of people were aware. How do you think the Jesuits became aware of it?
Because the Jesuits were very invested in the Far East.
Yeah, because this was a book common in the Far East.
Again, anyone who wants to research Art of War can see how
research
much the
it.
popularity
Again.
grew from that
Okay.
publishing.
It's literally right here. You want to see it? I'll go grab it right now.
Yeah, take a look at it and look at the beginning how rule 5 and 6 are on the same
Actually,
line.
I'm not
You have
going
rule
to.
1, 2,
I'm
3,
going to
4, then you have
demand
rule
that
5,
my wife-
6.
I'm going to
The
demand
reason
my
it's
wife, who is
5,
my
6.
slave, grab it for me.
Huh?
I'm going to demand my wife, who is my slave, grab it for me.
While she's doing that, be fit to be fit with the Big Ten. And I thought the flat earthers were the biggest dodging, refusing to answer our words. I stand corrected. Travis Malden says, my wife queefed, and that sounds a lot like Queen. So is she the champion?
I meant wife, not slave. That was, I misspoke.
The state of things says stating the past is far easier than prescribing the future. Your predictions are only predictions once they're confirmed by being in the past. Prove me wrong.
Agreed.
Delano says you would be better off arguing the numbers. Prove God is in control, births and deaths. Many people believe that and call them synchronicities. Why not that, Zach?
I do think there is an organic side of this. We talked about this in the Jim Bob debate. There's also clearly a manipulated side where these numbers are used ritualistically to instigate world-shaping events, from 9/11 to the scandemic to what's going on with Russia, Ukraine, and there's recurring numerical patterns that connect all of them. This is what my book Number Games is about, which again, in that book, I explained, it was published in the middle of 2020, why they would wind down the scandemic as soon as the year of the tiger came around, exactly what they did. I also called out what would happen with the pokey-dokes before any of them were even introduced. Again, there's unpredicted power to this knowledge, very specific predictions, and life-saving knowledge, life-changing knowledge.
That he can't give any of you tonight. And by the way, the thing is like, I will give a lifeline here that it is true that many occult organizations do use the Bible as a premise for many of the things that they do. I don't dispute that that is true. I've talked about this many, many times, and including, by the way, John D., many other occultists that you cited. I don't dispute that that is true. I dispute that you, in any way, shape, or form, can make any sort of actual predictive models based on these loose correlates of numbers that you arbitrarily come up with. And I've demonstrated that over and over
and that's already proven
because
wrong
you
by history.
fucking can't do it tonight.
I don't need to do it tonight.
Because you can't.
The quote you just agreed
Just-
with
I
is just
can't.
cemented
I
what I've
can't.
already done.
Say you can't.
Look at the past, accurate
You
predictions, and
can't.
validate the future was
You
foretold.
can't. You can't. You can't.
I don't
We
do it.
have to join the
Yeah, it's not
Patreon to get
need.
the
I don't say you
predictions.
need to. I say you can't do.
I've done it many a time, so you're wrong.
Then do it now.
You're wrong.
Yeah, you can't do it.
You've already been proven wrong.
I win. I got to take
No,
a
you
lead.
don't.
Take a leak. Damien with the Big Ten, a young man wearing nothing but a linen garment, was following Jesus. When they seized him, he fled naked, leaving his garment behind. Mark 14:51 through 52. Heart Ponder with the Big Ten. Hey, you leave Zach alone, Andrew. Joseph Smith was a fraudster, and he got an obscene amount of poon in recorded American history. He also pinned his refusal predictions on Satan. He should do that. Know Your Realm says Zachary Greenblatt supporter and Neve time me out for using caps in one of my comments. Oy vey, my eyes can't handle all caps. Oy. Well, the mods can do whatever the fuck they want. They know their role. I support it. Mr. Disappointed, and for the record, all caps in the chat is really annoying. It's super obnoxious. It's almost just as bad as spamming the chat. Mr. Disappointed, this guy was raised without a father in the house. It's like a woman telling you a story and you just want to know the facts. Oh my God, stop blabbing on and prove your view. Jump in your crystal. We've got a crystal ready here for you too, by the way, if you want, Zach. We always have crystals ready. Daniel McCoy.